Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 11 of the 2022 AMA Esport Championship in MX Simulator. It is the Ironman MX Simulator National live here on Start Your Systems, ESTV, and Init Esports on Twitch. My name is Kellen Brower, as always, bringing you guys the action here from the 11th round of 12 in this championship, and we are getting to the end of this season. We are at the end of the 250 class championship, and we are at the end of a lot of different stuff as well. So let's get into it before we waste too much more time here tonight. It's Ironman. It's the 11th round of this championship. This is a fun racetrack. It's a favorite track for a lot of the riders on the schedule. So it's going to be fun to see how these guys actually race this track after we've seen qualifying over the last couple of days. But as we have talked about coming into this, the 250 class championship already wrapped up. Logan Leitzel was able to take home that championship last week at Budds Creek. So now Ironman Paula, he just gets to go out there, have some fun. We'll see what he's able to do with the kind of fun races that he can throw out here for us. But the 450 class championship is still alive, and we're going to jump right in right now and talk about that. Before we look at the standings, though, at least, let's take a look at qualifying, as Trevor Burns has gone fastest at a 1:43.578, but the man at the top of the championship table, Payson Johnson, right there at a 1:43.648, right behind Trevor Burns, so pretty close at the top. A little bit of a gap, though. Sean Hambrook in third on a 1:45.890, with Pablo Vial and Alexis Leclerc also in the mix in the 1:46s, and then we start seeing a bit of a drop-off. Last week we had a consolation race. It does not look like the 450 class will have one this week, and then as we move over to the 250 class, Cade Matherly has gone fastest, and I believe he's on a new team this week. We'll get to that in a moment. Millie Soderblom in second, with Seth Carr, Rasmus Balzer, and Frank Jackson out through the mix. See, do we have a consi here? 43 guys qualified. They may just let those guys in. We'll see. But let's get to the standings, which is kind of the most important thing here for the 450 class. So Payson Johnson enters with a 42-point lead on Alexis Leclerc, a 52-point lead on Tyler Lang. If he leaves here tonight with a 50-point lead or greater on either of those two, or basically both of those gentlemen, he is your champion, and he will not have to worry about it next week when we get to Fox Raceway. So would like to wrap it up right now. He has to outscore Leclerc, obviously, by 8 points, and basically not lose 2 points to Tyler Lang tonight. Lang obviously getting his first win last week at Budds Creek with a 1-1 performance, but it all comes down to Payson Johnson trying to clinch this championship early here tonight at Ironman. As we look at the 250 class standings, though, Logan Leitzel wrapped it up last week at Budds Creek. That is all done and dusted. Not really even a battle for second place in this championship either, as Matherly has a huge gap on Bordeaux and Prin, who we've not seen at these last couple rounds. But look at fifth on back. You got Frank Jackson, Seth Carr, even Seth Shirley, still only 10 back of Frank Jackson. There's a good little mix there for fifth, trying to battle it out between those guys. So there's still some battles plenty throughout this 250 class to watch. And of course, the battle for the win is what we'll also be keeping our eye on throughout the night as well. We're going to jump back in the server. There we go. And see what is going on. See what we're loading into right now. It looks like we may actually just have been loading into 250 moto number 1. So I'm going to disconnect and reconnect real quick here. But yeah, all right. How's everybody doing in chat? Good to see you guys here tonight. Brandon Kennedy, always having a good time in chat. Devin Davis with a $10 donation. Thank you so much, Devin. Saying you the best, Kellen. No, Devin, you the bomb, dude. Thick Boy BT also up in here. Good to see him. There is 2 consies didn't refresh. Interesting. So 2 consies here tonight before we get going. And Jed Holyhead, who last week was able to win the 250 class at Budds Creek, would love to race here tonight, but he cannot because he is currently at school. So you hate to see it. But it does look like there is consolation races, and we're going to get started with the 250 consolation race right here, right now. So these guys are about to go 4 laps, and the top 4 riders qualify through into the motos, as we are off and running here from Ironman. 250 consolation action into this first turn, and we get our first look of what this Ironman racetrack looks like as they funnel through that sharp right-hand 90-degree first turn. And it's going to be Blake Wickland out front on the AEO Power Sports 103 machine. He's got Jeremy Estrella right behind him. Timmy Briscoe up there on the 309. You got Nathan McLaughlin also there on the 246. Whoa, and everybody's splitting around our early race leader right there, as Jeremy Estrella is going to go up to the front, up and over the big Godzilla jump here at the top of the hill. And some serious jockey for position. Timmy Briscoe gets put down on the inside. Nathan McLaughlin, a little bit of a love tap there going in to that U-turn at the top of the hill. Then they'll drop back down into kind of the There's two different halves of the track here at Ironman. I would say this is more like the south half of the track, and then they go over this big tabletop in the middle and work towards the north half of the racetrack, where if you're kind of on top of this hill, you can see more of the north side, but you can also look down into the center of the racetrack, down there on the south side where the start and all the first couple corners are. But now they're kind of weaving in and out of the trees a little bit, and McLaughlin trying to go after Jeremy Estrella up front. So Estrella dropping down. I see you guys keep telling me that the times are not updated, but I mean, I refreshed my page about 10 minutes before this started, so must have just had a big update right before the end of this. But it's Estrella out front with McLaughlin in second, Will Clark in third, and Blake Wickland, our early leader, rounding out the 4 transfer positions out of this one as they work their way through these rollers here right before the finish line jump. Come through this tricky right-hand corner. Little double into this downhill tabletop. And then, Estrella almost through the front door. Big wall jump down to flat and then get on the gas through the mechanics area. Right-hand 90-degree turn into another right-hand 90-degree turn. You can kind of make it a double apex 180. And Estrella brings us back through the Studio 8 whole shot line. That is a first lap look here around Ironman Raceway. Good little battles so far with our lead group. And everybody trying to establish those early positions. Last thing you want to do in a consolation race is crash right off the start as well. So these guys have done a good job so far of not getting collected in any of the drama. Did see a little bit of a love tap, though, of course, from McLaughlin as he put Timmy Briscoe down. We'll see where the 309 of Briscoe settled into as this lead train continues to funnel through. Estrella and McLaughlin 1-2. With McLaughlin starting to close up, and he's eyeing a couple different line options to maybe make a move on Jeremy Estrella. As they go over this big tabletop, the MXS lobby tabletop in the center of the racetrack. Definitely going to see some big whips on that one tonight. Hopefully we see some dualies too. Always love to see guys get upside down and whipped out side by side with their fellow competitors. But it is Estrella who is still leading this thing through the back section again. Estrella from McLaughlin. Will Clark and Tanner Thorson now moves up into the final transfer spot. Thorson dropping down under the tunnel and out the other side, almost off the left-hand side of the racetrack. And here comes Tanner Thorson up alongside Will Clark. Funneling into the braking bumps. We got two different kind of battles going on. We got a battle for the lead and a battle for third. And then, as Will Clark goes down. That is Will Clark down out of the third position. He's going to go back to, it looks, and he had a double fall-off crash too. As he picked the bike back up, it looks like he was still laying upside down. And this game is a little bit weird in that sense. If your head is still actually hitting the ground, when you try to remount the motorcycle, you will fall off the bike again. Imagine your head in this game kind of being like the soft spot, I guess. Whereas if you actually hit your head pretty much at any point in time on an inside barrier or on a rut or something like that, it's pretty likely you're actually going to fall off the motorcycle. It's rare that you can slide out and not hit your head at least once and fall. And when you do fall off the motorcycle, your hands will always remain attached to the bars, but your legs will fall off, and it'll take you about 8 to 12 seconds to remount the bike. But unfortunately, there in Will Clark's case, it took him about 20 seconds because he had a double fall off. Now we have another crash. That's Tanner Thorson off the right-hand side of the track down in the roller section going up to Godzilla. And he's going to have his work cut out for him, so kind of resetting things here a little bit. Still the same 1-2 that we've had out front here on lap number 3. Jeremy Estrella from Nathan McLaughlin. 1 and 2 right here. And now Christopher McPherson Jr. had found his way into third. Gets hit from behind after sliding out. Ryan Swanson coming into play. He's going to go down as Brent Heinzelman taking no prisoners. Puts Ryan Swanson on the ground. It's Heinzelman on the 981 who is now occupying that last transfer spot. Pushing the nose up a little bit high through that turn. Then down through kind of the tricky bits in the back section of this track where it's really hard to kind of meter each corner because you're going up and down a lot. Kind of go up to plateaus and down to low edge corners and stuff like that. And it's hard to charge each section because you don't want to get light as you go up and over a rise and try to hook into a rut. So you have to kind of tiptoe a little bit through there. But Heinzelman doing a good job so far. Holding on to this fourth position. Got to be careful, though. Tanner Thorson starting to reel him in here, and we're going to have a lap to go this time by. So the battle for The final transfer spot into the motos here tonight is about to be on as the white flag will wave, and Tanner Thorson is trying to charge up to Brent Heintzelman and take over 4th place. Only 4 riders go through. 36 riders have already seeded their way into the motos here tonight by pre-qualifying their way in. Everybody behind them has been forced to go to this consolation race to race their way into those final 4 spots, and then we'll have 2 40-rider 30-minute plus 2-lap motos coming up here in just a moment. But it comes down to this final lap for Tanner Thorson and the riders behind him to try to close up and get into this top 4 positioning. Definitely looks like Thorson might have the pace to run Heintzelman down. Does he have the time, though? That could be a big question mark, as Heintzelman's doing a pretty good job of hitting his marks and not making too many mistakes. Thorson's trying to push that pace, though. It's getting pretty close through these S-turns. Heintzelman, a little bit lofty through some of those ruts, but going to push to the outside. He likes that line right there. Thorson follows him in. And they're still pushing up to Christopher McPherson Jr. Our leaders, Estrella and McLaughlin, are 9 seconds clear of this, so it's pretty likely they're going to be safe and sound up there. Heintzelman pushing up to McPherson Jr., though, does not want to get passed by Thorson on this last lap of the race. Thorson got a good line through that inside rut right there in the corner, switches to the middle. Heintzelman pulls up alongside McPherson Jr. He's going to launch out almost a flat, go to the inside, and does make the pass into 3rd place. So a brilliant move by Heintzelman leaves McPherson Jr. as a bit of a sitting duck right here. Here comes Tanner Thorson to the outside of him on this straightaway. Oh, man, and McPherson Jr. goes for the block. Thorson goes to the inside, crosses over ruts, takes the position, and the 103 of Wickland also goes by. Up front, it was Estrella from McLaughlin. Heintzelman comes through the rollers on the last lap in 3rd, and Thorson into the final corner with Wickland right there. It's going to be a drag race to the flag, and it'll be Thorson by 0.4 of a second. Wickland crosses the line in 5th. Will Clark 6th, McPherson Jr. in 7th. Timmy Briscoe will end up in 8th in this one, with Ryan Swanson rounding out the 9th position and Reed Candela in the top 10. Braden Willett is out of this one, so he's getting passed right now by the looks of it. It's Josh Mertens, aka T-Rider, going on by. So he'll end up 11th. Braden Willett out of this race, as is Brandon Nygren and Quinote Tom. And Colton Heckman out of this one as well. And we'll wait for those cuts to come in, as T-Rider will be the last guy to finish it up. But Estrella takes the win in the consolation race. And a nice little fight between everybody to the flag. Made a good battle for 4th. We'll wait for those penalties to be applied. Good to see everybody joining up in the chat, though. TKO Smokey asking, when are we going to get to 100K? Got to hurry up. Honestly, what bums me out a little bit about right now is working for Racer X. I just don't really have that much time to produce content during the pro motocross season, because we're so busy covering these races, and my regular boss Jason Wygant's obviously real busy with the TV side of things, so it kind of doubles our workload a little bit to a degree than what we would normally have in Supercross. So pretty much every year that I've worked for Racer X and the outdoors have come around now, the content that I'm able to put out during this 3-month span really suffers, which I'm bummed about, because we were on a good track to get to 100K probably by September or so, but it's definitely tapered off a little bit. So still trying to grind and get there. If you're new and you're enjoying the content, please be sure to subscribe, because it'd be fantastic to get to 100K before the year is over, at least. So cuts have come in. Thorson actually goes up to 3rd around Heintzelman, and Heintzelman just hangs on by 1/10 of a second. Brent Heintzelman had 1.75 seconds of cuts. So a bit of a close call there for the Heinz SketchUp Master, but he's going to get through in 4th. McLaughlin and Estrella cleanly through in 2nd and 1st, as well as Tanner Thorson coming through in 3rd. So next up is the 450 consolation race, and the same deal here. 4 laps and top 4 riders go through. So let's figure out who it's going to be as we load back up. Get ready to have a little bit of fun here at Ironman, with the motos coming up in just a few moments. Well, we are off to the races so far tonight. Round 11 of the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator. NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar Rocks 2022. That is a long YouTube name. As do I think Tomac will win the motocross championship? I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite either way. I think that Sexton has his strong suits. I think Eli has his. I think honestly, I think it's critical that Eli goes 1-1 at Ironman because I do believe that Sexton's better at Fox. But I really don't know. I'm just excited to see it play out, and hopefully we have a good championship battle down to the end, and it doesn't end with, you know, a crash or. I felt like this past weekend with the first moto incident with Chase that it really kind of put a damper in it that he had the crash in the first moto and ended up in 7th because I thought, well, you know, now Tomac is going to have a good little points lead, and even if Chase starts to win races again, Eli could just, you know, sneak a moto win in here or there and still win the championship. But then the kind of rough moto for Tomac in the second one is still just a 1-point gap, so it's exciting. It's a good time to be a motocross fan, watch some good racing and kind of the changing of the guard in pro motocross, and we're excited to see what happens in these last 2 rounds. Here we go though, 450 consolation race back on the line, and they are off and running here at Ironman. Who gets to that corner first? A couple of guys pushing wide, including Austin Bear on the 70. So Caleb Hall on the 33 as well, I think. Dylan Smith gonna get the whole shot, and then coming out of the second corner, a rider goes down in front of him, and Smith goes down, so Jack Haley goes to the race lead. And it's going to be Haley out front early on. Tristan Powell, Jet Wisdom, and Kyle Carpenter. Looks like the whole Tagger Designs team ended up not doing any qualifying laps, found their way into this consolation race. We also have former Supercross champion Jeremy Siebold out here. He's tossing huge Oppo whips. So a lot of guys that just didn't run laps until pretty late today, it seems. Just sneaking in by the skin of their teeth to make it into the consolation race. And now they're out here giving it a go. But man, it's kind of crazy. There's actually quite a bit of talent in this consolation race. Caleb Hall, national number 33. Dylan Copeland, national number 63. Alec Horn, national number 59. Career number 18. Jeremy Siebold, national number 39. Kyle Carpenter up the inside of him. National number 70. Austin Bear. Jet Wisdom on the 403, and Tristan Powell battling it out. A couple 3-digit guys you would normally expect to see in these consies as they get sideways, and Austin Bear is going to split the difference to try to make a pass here. And he will do so, I think. It's close, but yeah, Bear on the 70 goes through. And a couple guys jumping into our living room over that huge jump after the tunnel here at Ironman Raceway as Austin Bear gets kicked around a little bit. So as they go now through the roller section here before the finish line jump, Jack Haley checks in out front, our 2019 Supercross champion on the number 2. 18 is not a career number for Siebold, so you're trying to tell me now could not earn a number, so he just got 18? Really? That seems backwards how that actually works in real life, but okay. I don't think that's necessarily how it's supposed to work. Even if you relinquish a career number of a single digit to allow someone else to have it, you are still, I believe, allowed to select a career number if you have earned it, which Siebold has. And especially if he's number 18, that means that he was probably high enough in the running order last year to score enough points to get top 10 in GNC again and be able to reselect a career number. But I digress. I've always thought it's a little silly, personally, and I know that this sounds dumb as well, but it's a little silly that past champions end up having triple-digit numbers whenever they come back. For example, we've had Byron Downen, 2014 Supercross champion, show his face a couple times in the last few years, and he's been running 323 since he's returned. I feel like it's just so weird to see a former champion in this game in the 450 class show up and not have a low digit number just available for him as Jack Haley goes down. Haley's going to allow Bear into the race lead and a couple other guys to go through, but will remount still in 4th, so he's in a transfer spot. Jeremy Seabolt moving up into 3rd place. You got Caleb Hall in the 33 in the background. Like I said, this is a pretty stacked consolation race. Look at Seabolt going for the triple over the finish line jump. I think we're going to see more of these 450 guys doing that. Seabolt making it look relatively easy as well. So Bear, Wisdom, Seabolt, and now Caleb Hall has gotten around Jack Haley for 4th. So an interesting turn of events here, as Jack Haley has not only lost the lead, but he's lost a transfer spot to the motos. He's got to fight back at a 5-rider train at the front, though, and it's starting to turn into a little bit of a 2-rider battle for the race lead as we peek our way up there. Austin Bear versus Jet Wisdom out front. Bear on the 70, Wisdom on the 403. It doesn't matter if it's a consolation race. Anytime you're leading a race, especially when you maybe know the talent that is behind you, always a little bit more nerve-wracking. You can't ride as loose as Seabolt lays it down. That allows Hall and Haley by into 3rd and 4th respectively. So Jeremy Seabolt struggling, just like Haley falls back a little ways. Now Haley gonna deal with the pressure from Seabolt, and 2 former Supercross champions will battle for the final transfer spot here in a consolation race. Austin Bear almost went through the front door over that big floater jump, and now Jet Wisdom almost landed off the left-hand side of the track as they all try to get to this far left side. And man, this 5-rider train is still so close, with 6th and 7th still lurking back there, and Haley's down again. The end of the section here, tucks the front end and lays it down. He will remount in 7th behind teammate Kyle Carpenter. And Alec Horn also in here. Jet Wisdom just went down. Wow. Late turn of events here as the white flag will wave. Jeremy Seabolt has gone back to the race lead again. Austin Bear slips to 2nd. Alec Horn is now in 3rd with Caleb Hall in 4th. And there's still some heavy competition trying to find their way into this thing on the last lap of this. Look at that move for Alec Horn up the inside of Austin Bear to make the move. So Horn into 2nd, Bear 3rd, Caleb Hall in 4th. Those are your 2, 3, 4 transfer spots with Jeremy Seabolt leading this thing with a lap to go. Loading out, landing hard on that single jump. Man, Kyle Carpenter on the 39 is really starting to get into the picture as well. These guys cannot let up whatsoever. Jet Wisdom, Jack Haley have lost a little bit of ground, but they're still back there in case things get wild. Jeremy Seabolt's just trying to bring this thing home in the lead. Alec Horn has a little bit of breathing room, but now he just made a mistake, and Austin Bear is going to pull back alongside. Here we go over the big jump in the middle. Doolies for 2nd place in the Consi. Let's get it. To the outside for Horn, far inside for Bear. The far inside line will work as the 70 makes the pass. And as these guys mess with each other, it's still allowing Kyle Carpenter to get into the picture for 4th place. A mistake for Horn again. And Caleb Hall is just sitting here hoping he doesn't get past. Carpenter made a mistake. Horn lays it over huge on the tunnel jump. Gets back on now in 4th behind Caleb Hall. This guy's absolutely sending it in the consolation race. Close action all the way to the flag in both the 250 and 450 consi. Oh, and Carpenter sent it in a little hard in these last couple corners. Almost went down. Seabolt takes the win. Austin Bear will cross the line. He'll end up in 2nd. Caleb Hall in 3rd. And Alec Horn goes to the motos in 4th. Kyle Carpenter will miss out, as will Jack Haley and Jet Wisdom. Could have been any one of those 7 guys going through. It was a great race to the flag. And it'll be Dylan Copeland coming through in 8th, Dylan Smith in 9th, Zach Fisher in 10th, Tristan Powell, Jack Mark, Matthew Grist all did not finish this one, as the consolation races are coming to a close. Jeremy Seabolt takes the win in this one. And just waiting for those penalties to come into confirm our top 4 positions. One more rider still coming. And here we go. We're about to get those penalties and see. And it looks like everything stays the same. Horn, Hall, Bear, and your winner, Jeremy Seabolt, going through to the motos as Seabolt hangs out by the Godzilla. Big old toss out whip there for Seabolt. All right, well, consolation races are done. And we are set and ready to move on forward to the motos. That means 250 Moto 1 coming up next. Get our moto names and timer properly displayed here for you guys to see and not miss a single bit of the action here. So 250 Moto 1 going to the line. And we'll give you guys a proper rundown here in just a moment as well. Of course, I want to give a big thank you again to everybody that's tuning into round 11 of the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator, live here on Start Your Systems on YouTube, ESTV, and Init Esports on Twitch. Wherever you chose to tune in tonight, we really appreciate the support and are ready to bring you guys the action here from the 11th round. Points scoring motos coming up next. The top 20 in each moto will score points. Obviously, the higher into the top 20 you finish, the more points you will score, as the winner walks away with 25 points per moto. And coming into this 11th round of the championship, at least in the 250 class, there is not a whole lot on the line when it comes to the championship scenarios in the 250 class, because Logan Leitzel has it wrapped up. Nobody else can beat him anymore with the remaining motos in the season. And Cade Matherly has second place just about wrapped up as well. He has got a pretty insurmountable gap to everybody behind him, third on back. There is a good little fight for fifth place. We'll keep an eye on some of those guys battling it out for that position tonight. But really the key here tonight is it's almost like a clean slate again. No one's going for championship points. No one's trying to save or, manage the championship or anything like that. It is an all-out brawl trying to win this Ironman National in the 250 class. So this could be exciting. We might see a little bit of chaos, some guys running up front and trying to battle harder than we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Or maybe we just see some of the familiar faces we have seen over those last few weeks step up and get out front. We do know, though, that last week's winner from the Budds Creek National, Jet Holyhead, is not here tonight, unfortunately, as he was only able to drop in for the one race at Budds and is back out as he is Australian. So, of course, Logan Leitzel with the title wrapped. Can Cade Matherly come back, win another overall this year? He's already won one at Washougal. Alex Rivera says, what do I think about Christian Craig getting snubbed out of MXON by Cooper? Look, I'm not opposed to the pick at all by Cooper whatsoever. I think it's perfectly fine. I think he's going to do well, and I'm excited to see that he'll have redemption from his 2019 Motocross of Nations attempt, which he won the qualifying race in the sand at Assen over a lot of really talented MX2 riders, and then got a pretty decent start in Moto 1, but then crashed with Jason Anderson through the rollers and broke his hands. So he's going to have redemption being able to come to Budds Creek. The one thing I don't like about Cooper is that he doesn't ride through the field all that well. So I think that'll be a bit tough, but he's a great starter. Personally, I think he's a better starter than Craig, so that might help us on a 250. We'll have to see. The thing about Craig, and I know people are saying he's getting snubbed, I do think it's unfortunate that he was mentioned with the team for so long and didn't get the spot, but I still look at it as man, Christian Craig had such a good year that he's even considered to be on the U.S. Motocross of Nations team. So you could look at it as being snubbed, or you could look at it as you're pretty much looked at as like the 4th best American rider right now, by being the first rider not picked for the U.S. Nations team. I think that's a pretty cool era to be in. So, yeah. All right, quick lineup check. Hayden Stevenson, Bodie Parker, Jack Gatland, Brent Heinzelman, Noah McLaughlin, Maxime Vanderbeek, Tanner Thorson, Braden Tharp, Luke Fauser, Samuel Renard, Brett Powers, Evan Holt, Rasmus Balzer. We're only going to get through about 14 of these guys as we look at Carson West, because it is time to turn that 30 card sideways and drop the gates here on 250 Moto number 1 at Ironman. It is about to be an all-out brawl for about 35 minutes of racing, 30 minutes plus those 2 laps added on at the end, and points being paid out per position through the top 20 is what is on the line and at stake to set up for the overall win tonight at Ironman. All right, we are ready to go as the gate is already down up the inside. We're looking at Johnny Padani. He's going to get pinched a little bit. Out of the middle, Max Chwalik goes deep. A lot of riders coming down, and it's going to be Seth Shirley on the 23 getting the Studio 8 hole shot award. His teammate Seth Carr down the inside is going to take it over as he comes out of the second corner. So that first turn complex always wreaking havoc, trying to get on those brakes and make that right-hand 90-degree corner. And a couple guys pushing wide allows Shirley to get the hole shot, but he was coming so hot into the second corner, he pushed wide, and now Carr goes to the race lead. So Seth Carr, Braden Tharp, Maxime Vanderbeek out front. Seth Shirley slides back into 4th place with Cade Matherly, new team this week, the Fortnite passenger program, as he has switched on over and rides some Cowies to the end of the season for the 38. Already right behind Seth Shirley for this 4th position. Oh, and everybody getting upside down off the big tabletop in the center as Seth Carr tries to open up this gap out front. Remember, it was Carr and Shirley who are in the midst of a battle for 5th place in this championship. Look at Matherly. Oh, putting Seth Shirley on the ground. Cade Matherly taking no prisoners tonight either. Just shoved his rear tire right to the inside and made that pass up into what is now 4th place. Carr with Tharp and the 62 of Vanderbeek up there. And Jeremy Siebold, part of the Fortnite passenger program in chat, letting us know that Cade Matherly's old team threw, which I'm guessing means they went away, and they picked Cade Matherly up to help him out a little bit. So nice job by the Covenant Fortnite passenger. It's all one team kind of program to get Matherly on board, and now he's going to try to go out and win in his first appearance with them. He's got some stiff competition to get through. First of which will be the Belgian rider Maxime Vanderbeek, but a mistake. He cased that double in, still tried to hug the inside, but no match for the speed around the outside that Cade Matherly puts down to move up into 3rd place. So 4-rider train opening up out front with the 13 of Cooper Hunt getting into the mix from 5th place. Braden Tharp in 2nd place as they drop down the hill. 4 riders still pretty nose to tail, but Carr's actually done a pretty good job just getting a little bit of breathing room. It's not a ton, but it's so nice when you don't have... Oh, and as I say that, he makes a mistake. So to the race lead goes Braden Tharp, with Cade Matherly settling in right behind him in 2nd. Look at Matherly already poking his head to the inside of Tharp, trying to take the race lead. Oh, man. Mistake for Tharp. He's trying so hard to keep this lead. Meanwhile, jumping over top, trying to take back over 2nd place was Seth Carr, but our leader goes down. Braden Tharp hits the deck, and it's going to be Cade Matherly taking over the race lead with Bordeaux in 2nd. So Johan Bordeaux, one of the guys that is in a battle for technically now 3rd in the championship, but with no Nathan Prynne here, he's got 3rd place all but locked up. So he is one of the few guys that could still mathematically catch Cade Matherly for 2nd, but that might be out the window after this moto if Matherly can win it. So Cade Matherly trying to put his head down and focus forward. A couple of you guys talking about Deegan and his pro debut in the chat. I personally think that he's going to have like a decent first moto and will struggle a little bit more in the second moto. And it's not just like, I think he's in good shape, but I think the first time you do 230s at pace on a pro motocross track is something a little bit different for guys. Like even Ryder D was, had to come from way back in his first moto and then was 5th in the second moto for a long time in his debut, but then shifted back to 11th because he was getting a little bit worn out. So I could see Deegan getting a good start running up front, but then fading a little bit back early or late in the first moto, and then the second moto being a little bit more of a struggle for him. Gotta remember, he's a B rider, so it's not unprecedented to have B guys just jump into the pro ranks, but did those 2 A races, got his points, and now he is set and ready to make his pro debut. It's gonna be fun to watch. Man, Bordeaux is really not letting Cade Matherly go. Two riders of the 38 and 40 in your program book, pulling out a pretty big gap at the front here. And it seems like with the pace that Bordeaux is running, I thought it was Cooper Hunt on the 13 because he's running his gear. But a great battle here set to commence for the race lead. It's a little disrespectful to Talon Hawkins, to be fair. A guy that trains at the Baker's factory is good for 235s. I think that's pretty fair to say that he's okay. Bordeaux got close to Matherly, but that gap is starting to open up just a little bit more. Another mistake for Bordeaux, and then Matherly opens it back up. I'd say cool it with the easy top 10. You got to look at who's getting 10th place in these races, and it's not easy top 10 level stuff, in my opinion. Oh, and Matherly finally makes a big mistake and tucks the front end and goes down. Bordeaux takes over the race lead. And just like that, another flip-flop at the front. Kind of saw this a little bit last week at Budds Creek where nobody seemed to want the lead for a while. And now Bordeaux goes to the front. So the fast Frenchman back in action this week and back out front here at Ironman. Cade Matherly now back into second place. Maxime Vanderbeek is third with Daniel Irvine. Wow, I haven't seen Daniel Irvine for a little bit here on the 52 Aspect Visual Co ride. He's up in fourth. Good start for him. And Bodie Parker rounds out the top 10, or top 5, I should say. Parker hopping into the rollers, trying to close up to Daniel Irvine. So a little battle for fourth starting to brew. I'm not really sure why my mic is so loud this week either. I have it turned all the way down that I possibly can. Bodie Parker is closing that gap down to Daniel Irvine. And interestingly enough, it seems like they're actually pushing up to Maxime Vanderbeek a little bit here. So Maxime Vanderbeek going to have some company here soon. What is already a battle for fourth might be a battle for third as Bodie Parker thought about going to the inside of Irvine right there. Big scrub for Parker. He is trying to make this pass on Irvine and make it quickly. Doesn't want to waste too much time, because I think Bodie Parker has been building and building towards battling for podiums overall as we get into the latter stages of this season. Got a third in a moto at Unadilla a couple weeks ago. Seems to me like he's really kind of figured this whole thing out. I don't know why my microphone would be like that. I'll try to do some setting adjustments in between motos. I apologize for how loud it is, but I have moved pretty far back at this point, so hopefully it's a little bit better with how far behind it I am. Bodie Parker, though, just wants to get something set up on Daniel Irvine. Look at this inside line at the top of Godzilla. Coming back down off the top and still has not been able to find a way through. Daniel Irvine doing a terrific job right now of not folding to the pressure. And now Vanderbeek has made a big enough mistake that Irvine's there and they collect and both go down. Huge crash for Daniel Irvine. I don't know if Maxime Vanderbeek was like a little bit invisible or something like that, but it seemed really weird that they kind of went through each other and then both crashed heavily. So now Vanderbeek is going to try to close up onto Trent Adams again, but Bodie Parker has moved up into third place, and he is quite literally all by himself now because there's a huge gap ahead of him and a huge gap behind him. Cade Matherly still in second. Our leader, though, Johan Bordeaux, Panini Motorsports, or the Manini Potter Sports, as he puts it, is out front and a little bit in cruise control because Matherly hasn't really ate too much into that time. 8.9, 52.9 last time by a 50.4. Bordeaux's actually opened it back up of late. Now we're just seeing how Bordeaux kind of massages the track as he rolls over those rollers with some good precision, getting that rear tire planted. It's a tricky game to kind of hit rollers efficiently, I feel like. A lot of this game is bouncing off of stuff a little bit, but if you can push that rear tire down just at the right time on each roller, you'll get that little extra bit of traction off the top of each one. Nah, I'm good, Justin. We can let all the Deegan stuff happen in here because it just means more people will come in and chat about it. Man, Bordeaux has got that line dialed too. There's not many people that are getting the triple and then the double over that big roller as clean as Bordeaux has gotten it the last couple times I've seen him actually hit it. But so efficient, and actually he's opened it up to 17 seconds, so Cade Matherly has gone down. Matherly has lost another 9 seconds or so, and Bodie Parker's not that far behind the 38. Things have really spread out. But the top three are still the same top three. Nothing's changed there. Trent Adams and Vanderbeek still going at it for fourth place right now. Daniel Irvine on the 52 in the background. It's weird how quickly things opened up. It felt like everybody was right on top of each other for the first 5 minutes or so of this moto. But then everything after that has been really spread out. These guys go through the rollers yet again. I believe Chance Hymas is scheduled to race the Combine this weekend. Combine's actually pretty stacked on Friday. Flying out super early tomorrow morning to go to Ironman to film all the action at the Combine, so excited to head out there. But there's a pretty long list of A-level talent going to the line for the Combine. This is probably the most stacked one we've had of the four so far. Adams doing a good job, though, keeping Van der Beek behind, and Daniel Irvine has started to close the gap down to them. And once again, we have another battle for 4th place that is just kind of according together. Seems like each of these riders have a spot on the track that works for them as well. Irvine kind of closed up through the first little half of the track, and then Van der Beek started to open it back up. He's actually pretty much right on Trent Adams once again for 4th. Oh, and now a mistake. Adams pushes out of the rut. So Van der Beek shoots down the inside to make the pass. Adams is fighting back, though. Far inside line in this section. Sometimes that can work, but he's not going to have enough to keep Van der Beek behind. So the Belgian rider goes back into 4th place. Adams now slips to 5th, and you got Daniel Irvine in 6th. So let's actually figure out where everybody's at. Oh, hold on. Battle for the lead starting to brew. Cade Matherly now right on Bordeaux for the race lead. I wonder if Bordeaux crashed a couple times here. Big downhill floater table off the top. And Bordeaux, I almost wonder if Matherly kind of even momentarily took the lead. Well, 51.9 last time by isn't terrible. Oh, Matherly just went down. I was just about to say I think Matherly may have got the lead and then made a couple mistakes and lost it. How about Bodie Parker, though? Whoa, and then a rider going backwards gets in his way. But Bodie Parker was just about to take 2nd place away, and he is only 9 seconds off the lead, too. So Parker is just letting these guys have their mistakes out front, not too worried about what's really happening between them. And letting the race kind of come to him, but now Bordeaux is back into a great position where he has 9 seconds in hand and can control from the front, but I do have to believe he went down at some point, if not twice, and that's what allowed Matherly back into the picture. So let's give you guys a top 20 rundown, see where all our point scores are at the moment, as we are just past the halfway point of 250 moto number 1. Johan Bordeaux, Panini Motorsports number 40, is out front with Cade Matherly. Fortnite Passenger number 38 in 2nd. Bodie Parker, the Wonder Bread Boys 115, is in 3rd with the 43 Yogi ride of Trent Adams in 4th. Maxime Van der Beek on the District Designs number 62, rounding out the top 5 with Daniel Irvine on the Aspect Visual Code number 52 in 6th. Seth Carr, the number 35 Underground RC Phil Ski and Snowboard Machine, runs in 7th with Ben Seberg on the 131decals.com number 46, or 48, excuse me, in 8th spot. 9th for Johnny Padani, Yogi Designs number 180, and 10th is Nick Niles on the Pre-moto number 713, but maybe not for long. Frank Jackson on the Phil's Underground RC number 32 is going to go around him, get inside of the top 10, push Niles back to 11th. There is Seth Shirley, his teammate, on the Underground Phil's Ski and Snowboard number 23 in 12th. 13th for Max Chwalik on the District Designs number 346. 14th for Carson West, iSpec number 486. 15th for Brett Powers on the Wild Side number 40. 16th for Millie Soderblom on the 183 DuckTales ride. 17th is Nathan McLaughlin on the Billabong 246. 18th for Cole Gress on the Yogi 143, but he just went down. J.R. Reyes and Braden Tharp in a death battle for 19th right now. The Connect Visual 53 of Tharp is going to get it and get around Gress to go up to 18th. Gress remounts 19th, and J.R. Reyes on the Finca 73 rounds out our points paying positions here past the halfway point of 250 moto number 1. So some good battles going on throughout, but want to head back up to some of the stuff we're seeing out front, particularly, where did I see that battle? Right here. Look at this one. We got Nick Niles, Ben Seberg, Seth Shirley, all nose to tail. Good little fight between these guys, as it seems like Seth Shirley might be kind of the man on the move of this group. It appears to me, at least, that he's making some good moves and quick moves where he can. And he was up front earlier on, so I think he might be kicking himself. Kind of blew a good start a little bit. But he did get put on the ground by Cade Matherly, so it's not all his fault. But he is going to go down the inside of Niles to get into 10th. And will, looks like, hold that position as well. So 2 quick passes around Seberg, and Niles puts the 23 of Shirley into the top 10. He's going to work on catching his teammate Frank Jackson for 9th as his next step of the process. Johnny Padani, meanwhile, is working on Seth Carr. These guys are battling for 6th, I believe. And up to the battle for 4th again. Trent Adams closing up once again on Maxime Vanderbeek. These two have definitely exchanged blows a couple times. So who is going to make the pass this time? Whoa, Vanderbeek, a huge swap, but a nice save. The 62 got real sideways coming in, stood it up and hopped a few ruts. Only going to lose the position and not more. It could have been way more if he went down. So Adams back into 4th. Vanderbeek sliding back into 5th, but they're still in a pretty good position for the both of them. Oh, we have a change for the lead. Wow, Matherly has gotten around Bordeaux. Bordeaux is trying to fight back, though. Just past the 20-minute mark, and the race for the lead is on at Ironman. Look at this outside line for Bordeaux, trying to carry momentum into this sand section. Wow, Matherly hit that middle rut so well, though. Crossover for Bordeaux. Not close enough either. Matherly still holding on as they jump out into the flat. Rider down. Matherly has to go inside. They split the lapper. They cross over, and the lapper gets into Bordeaux and takes him down. Tanner Thorson just getting absolutely sandwiched right there. Best thing he could have done is just braked really hard and let them go by, but he ended up going straight on. Gets stood up and hits Bordeaux. Bordeaux fortunate not to fall off because Bodie Parker on the 115 is right there behind him. Look at that. 115 to Parker. Trying to maybe make a pass on Bordeaux for 2nd now. He's got a great drive actually up to the Godzilla jump. It's going to get alongside of him. Bordeaux is going to go defensive. Cut the line off, so Parker had to check up. Now he's going to go far inside right here. Got that line pretty good. And it is a battle for 2nd, but a reminder that our leader, Cade Matherly, is only 2 seconds up the road of these guys. As lap traffic is trying to swerve out of the way, there's Matherly on the 38 going the other direction. So now Bordeaux is just able to take kind of a bit of a deep breath, reset himself, and instead of getting caught and battling with Bodie Parker, he's put his head down a little bit and is going to try to go catch Cade Matherly. It seems as though he has the speed in hand to do so, but does he have the time and the pace? Whoa, jumping all the way out to that. I haven't seen anybody try that, so that's a new one. Basically jumping out of the big hole under the tunnel and jumping all the way out to the little ditch before the double. Look at that. Bordeaux closed that gap down so fast. Matherly hasn't really been riding too bad. He's made a couple little mistakes that I could see right in front of this. But Bordeaux doing the lines that he was doing right there just chomped away the time in no time. Inside, inside versus Matherly going outside, outside to get the run through the rollers. Actually seemed like that time Matherly's lines were a little bit better. At least through that 2nd turn. Bordeaux had closed up and then Matherly pushed it back away. Whoa. Bordeaux kind of double clutched that run a little bit. Front tire started to slip away, but a nice job of corralling it back together. Same thing right there. You can see that bar just kind of twitch a little bit and he stood it back up to not slide out and go down. These two are absolutely laying it down right now. They have pushed away from Bodie Parker. He's still back there as Parker. If these two get together, oh, Matherly's down. Matherly's down in a huge off under the tunnel. So Bodie Parker is going to go up in a second as Bordeaux takes over the race lead. Wow, what a turn of events that was. And we've seen these 250 guys trying to get over that little double jump. You just get it a little bit sideways, and the traction hooks up all awkward, kicks you real hard to the ground, as Cade Matherly just learned right there. And he's got some lap traffic to deal with, but Bodie Parker has moved into second place as Bordeaux goes back to the race lead here on lap number 14. What else is going to happen in this one? We got 5 minutes on the clock, plus those 2 laps added on to the end of the race, and I feel like we are far from out of the woods of what's going to happen as Bordeaux just gets kicked really sideways coming out of that corner. Nice job to not go down, but certainly lost some time. Bodie Parker going to sense the opportunity as it closes up in front of him, and Matherly's not right behind him either, so he doesn't have the pressure of having to defend. He can just focus on the 40 of Bordeaux ahead of him and try to close this gap down. What a ride this is, though, for Bodie Parker. Very reminiscent of what he was able to do at Unadilla with that third place finish. But this time he seems like he's lasting a little bit longer into the moto and making life a little bit more difficult for the race leader, Johan Bordeaux. Does appear that one of these 3 riders is going to win this moto, though, as Trent Adams is pretty far back of Matherly, who is in third place about, let's see, 25 seconds, 26 seconds ahead of Adams right now. As Bordeaux works his way around some lap traffic and continues on. So it looks like Parker's made a couple mistakes, and Matherly is going to take full advantage of it to close up. Oh, is that Bordeaux? That's Bordeaux. The leader's down. The leader's down in the same spot 2 laps in a row. Matherly crashes the lead away. Bordeaux does it again on the same section, and Bodie Parker has taken over the race lead here at Ironman. What an incredible win this would be, and an upset for sure if Bodie Parker can hold on to this thing here with 3 minutes and 2 laps still to go. Wow, this is going to be interesting as Matherly is trying to close that gap down. This is unfamiliar territory right here for Bodie Parker, leading the moto this late into it. 27 minutes have come and gone, and Bodie Parker is out front here deep into the moto at Ironman. His first career moto win is hanging in the balance. And Cade Matherly is saying, no, sir, I would like to take that one away from you and add it to my mantle instead. Up and over this big Godzilla jump at the top. And Matherly has certainly closed that gap down in a hurry. We have a battle for the lead on our hands here at Ironman. Inside move for Matherly. Not quite close enough to make it happen, but he's certainly putting the pressure on Parker now. Outside to far outside again for Matherly. Parker going defensive on these inside lines. Dualies over the MXS lobby tabletop. So does Matherly have a place picked out that he likes? Was pretty good through kind of this couple sequence of corners, but this is also where he crashed 2 laps ago. So has to be a little bit careful. As they go through the tricky downhill section again, underneath the tunnel and out. Parker getting a little bit sideways. And Parker, give the credit to him, though. He has responded to the pressure that Matherly has put on him and actually started to open this gap back up a little bit. That's going to be costly, though. Big slide out coming out of the corner. Had to go off the track to kind of reset himself. Might lose some time on cuts, but Matherly's just saying, I'll take the lead anyways. He goes to the front. Minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. So Cade Matherly retakes the lead here at Ironman. We only have a minute left plus those 2 laps, so this should be 3 to go right now. And Bodie Parker just saw a dream ride slip through his fingertips here, but it is not over yet. Just putting down those 55s, trying to be consistent. Hoping maybe we get another mistake out of Cade Matherly out front. Bordeaux just had another big one in the background, so he is slid out. Gonna fall back to about 8 seconds off our lead group. Pressure's on for Matherly, though, to not have yet another mistake. He's had a few too many in this moto. And Parker has just been solid as a rock. Hopping through those bumps, kind of pushing out through the ruts. Parker got it pretty clean behind him. And here we go. Time is about to expire. In the server, time has just hit 0. I know we still have a couple seconds left on our clock that we're watching. But this battle for the lead is far from over. Bodie Parker wants a piece of Cade Matherly for this win. And is not willing to sit down and settle for second place. A second place in a moto would be a career best for Parker, but when you have the win dangling in front of you like this, oh, how badly you want to go for it. 2-lap board displayed here as we have only 2 more turns around this track before we are crowning a Moto 1 winner. Matherly, despite those couple mistakes that he just made, has actually done pretty well to settle back down. But like I said, he's not out of the woods just yet. Bodie Parker is sitting back there, hitting his marks, doing his laps, not pushing his pace beyond what he's comfortable. At least not yet. I think he might be waiting and see if Matherly makes another big mistake to allow him to get close. And then I think you'd see Parker maybe wick it up just a little bit more to try to make a pass at least. So for Cade Matherly, 2-second lead. They're pretty far ahead of Bordeaux, so it's really just between these two right now. Matherly looking for his 4th moto win of the year, I believe it will be. Sets himself up really well for the overall win if he can hang on, or at least be up in the top 2. And that gap has certainly opened up. Bodie Parker's made a few too many mistakes. But the pressure still remains on Cade Matherly to bring this thing home. A late tip over, a late swap off the track, anything like that. And all that work to try to win this moto is out the door just like that. Look at that. Even a crashing Braden Tharp, I think it was, or Jack Gatling, excuse me, on the 50, slowed Matherly down quite a bit. And Bodie Parker said, wait a minute, I'm not out of this thing. I can go win this moto. And he has wicked it back up. I think we're about to see the fullest that Bodie Parker has ever sent to try to win this thing, because the worst thing that could happen is a crash, and he'd still get up with plenty of time in second place. Obviously, crashing again maybe would lose him that second position, but you don't have a better opportunity right now to win a moto than this, when you got the guy leading right in front of you and not really a worry behind you of crashing and losing position. You're either going to get the win or you're going to get second. Might as well go for the win if you can. Tries that inside line again. Matherly's really solid through that middle rut, though. And Parker is just trying to push up to the rear wheel and maybe force Matherly into a bit of a mistake here late in this one. He's also been kind of following some of his lines. That was a mistake right there, though. He hopped into the second from the outside rut and missed it, and then jumped to the far outside rut. So Cade Matherly now has a bit more breathing room, but we saw that didn't matter. So can Parker close this thing up? We have only got 3 turns left to go as we go down this back straightaway one more time. Matherly playing it safe, not going for the double. Big time off of the wall jump. And Parker is still right there As we come into Luke Fowler, who they are lapping. This is where Parker was so good a lap ago. Oh, and he's down. Big off for Parker. He tried to rip that inside rut and get close, but he instead laid it down. So Matherly survives the barrage of attacks and a few crashes of his own. Cade Matherly takes Moto 1 at Ironman. Bodie Parker, a valiant effort and a terrific ride, but it'll be Parker in P2 in Moto 1 at Ironman. Bordeaux, battling for the lead for so long, slipped a little ways back towards the end, but he will still get third and round out the podium spots because they had absolutely dropped the rest of the field. This is Frank Jackson coming to the line in fourth. Few turns left to go for him. Looks like he's pretty well locked into this spot besides maybe a late crash causing him to lose it. Trent Adams will be fifth. Seth Shirley there in sixth. Daniel Irvine seventh. Seth Carr in eighth. Max Chwalik runs in ninth with Johnny Padani rounding out the top 10. Looks like those guys will stay there barring some crashes. Ben Seberg 11th. Millie Soderblom 12th. Maxime Vanderbeek slipped all the way to 13th. Wonder what happened to the Belgian, as Nick Niles will get 14th. Carson West 15th. Brett Powers 16th. Braden Tharp 17th. And Luke Fowler, the last rider on the lead lap, will get 18th. JR Reyes was 19th, and Jack Gatlin will round out our points paying positions as we are waiting for those penalties to come through and confirm. But it does appear that Matherly has won this first moto in his first ride with the Fortnite passenger team. So good way to start off for the 38. Doesn't get much better than that. All right, one more rider to cross the line. Here come those penalties. Did anything change? Oh, that rider crashed in the last turn. Come on. There we go. And Matherly, wow, Matherly had 2 seconds of cuts. Parker had 1.12. So basically, if Parker was within a second of Matherly at the line, he would have won this moto. But instead, he will get second, Bordeaux third, Jackson fourth, and Trent Adams rounds out the top 5 in this one. All right, I'm going to try to unplug my mic and replug it in. We'll see if it fixes the problem. So hang tight, folks. Oh, yo, yo, yo. No, it still seems pretty loud. Is that still pretty loud for you guys? I got one more thing I could try. Don't know how well it will work. Well, I don't know. Is it loud? It seems like maybe it's not pinging off the top as much as it was. Apologies for the technical difficulties, though. But many congratulations to Cade Matherly on that first moto victory. 450 Moto 1 coming up next. Oh, it's perfect now. Wow. Beautiful. Oh, man. Braden Tharp crashed 5 laps in a row in the same spot. You hate to see it. But he did get the whole shot, so yeah. Yes, Tucker, I am going to the Motocross of Nations. I'm actually going to the next, 3 events that are happening. I'll be at Ironman this weekend. I'll, of course, be at Fox Raceway for the finale. And then just a nice break. Just take a little bit of time to kind of re-energize. The National Championship, it's fun. I love streaming for you guys, but man, it gets to a point where you're like, man, we're on our 27th, this is 28th race of the year. It's been a while. All right, 450 Moto number 1 coming up next. And this is where the championship battle lies. A 42-point championship lead for Payson Johnson over Alexis Leclerc. 52-point lead over Tyler Lang. And as a reminder, if he finishes 50 points ahead of both of those riders by the end of the night, he is your champion. 25 points for the win, 22 for second, and 20 for third. So essentially, if he goes 1-1 and Leclerc goes 3-3, championship's done, folks. It is Payson Johnson in 2022. But of course, Leclerc is going to try to at least force the issue to Fox Raceway and leave the onus on Payson to respond, not lose too many points here, and make things a little bit more interesting for the finale. But we will see what will happen. So we'll give you guys a bit of a lineup check here. Let you know who's all in 450 Moto 1 in just a second. As we finally get loaded in, I've got to disconnect and reconnect, so we got all the skins loaded up. All right, so Tyler Lang. Well, let's see. Did we miss some people? Yeah, Pablo Vial, Nico Marchini, Braden Carter, Tyler Lang, Luke Sullivan, Caleb Hall, Tyler Blowers, Matthias Janis, Sean Hambrook, Anthony Pachone, Logan Lights on the 450 class, so that's exciting. Devin Davis, Chris Post, Colby Eagland, Aaron Rockefeller, Payson Johnson, our championship leader, Chase Donovan, Chase Blakely, Tyler Nichols, Cooper Hunt, Austin Bear, Ethan Gurst, Trevor Spencer, Blake O'Brien, Adam Holm, Jason Stubbs, Caden Speck, Tanner Rogers, Reno Brennan, Caden Speck, Bryce Whelan, Bob Joe, Dakota French, Alec Horn, Brandon Larson, Seth Garrett, Braden Castellaneta, Ashton Rakowski going to the line. Did I miss Leclerc? Oh, there he is. Okay. Just making sure that Alexis Leclerc is actually out here. Well, we'll say one thing that I tend to like about Leclerc, even though I personally would never do this, like I like being able to switch up gear. Leclerc always runs the same gear. So it's quite easy to tell when you're actually looking at Leclerc because he has teammates, that were on the Panini Motorsports team with him that would run different setups and you would, tell them apart by that different setup. Leclerc always runs the same gear. So it's really easy to tell, hey, we're looking at Alexis Leclerc. Here we go, though. 30 card goes sideways. The revs go up and the gate is down here at Ironman. 450 Moto 1 powering into the first corner. No surprise to see the 7 poke his nose out. Alexis Leclerc is going to come through and pick up the Studio 8 whole shot. Out front, Aaron Rockefeller in second. T-Lang off his 1-1 performance at Budds Creek. He's up in third. The 91, I think that was the 81 of Chase Donovan. He's up in fourth. Payson Johnson, he's in fifth, so a good start for our championship contenders. Johnson's got to try to not get hung up here as a couple riders get together. I think that was Burnsy going down on the 28. Oh, and Johnson's down. Johnson down through the middle of the corner right here. Wow, and he's going to fall behind a lot of guys. Fortunate not to lose the whole field. Oh, maybe he's going to lose the whole field here. Yeah, he's down with Devin Davis. They came together sideways. Reno Brennan's going to go down off him, and Johnson has a heap load of work to do now. Literally getting up in 39th on the first lap is Payson Johnson. Actually, you know what? I know it's not really pertinent to the championship because he's still got a big lead, but I kind of want to see this. Look at all the riders in front of him. Adam Holm on the 17 is back here. 18 of Jeremy Siebold out of the Consi's back here. Johnson almost gets cross-blocked by one of the riders in front of him. Oh, and he gets hit from the side and goes down. That was Devin Davis. Now, I wonder if Davis is upset because Johnson did cross-jump him once he got up from his crash. But wow, Payson Johnson way back here. Blake O'Brien cuts to the inside. He's up into 37th. And these riders scrubbing that big jump. Johnson's trying to stay to the far right side of the track. It's exactly what Johnson did not need, though. He scores no points this moto, which, of course, it's pretty unlikely he's going to get through some guys here. But if he didn't score points and Leclerc won, that gap goes to teen digits from 42 down to just 17 if Leclerc was able to pick the win. Johnson's going for the triple over the finish line jump, so already up into 32nd. Could have been much worse. Going to nearly land on that rider who is down. Brennan allows Johnson through. So up to 30th. And what a chaotic start to the race that was for Payson Johnson. Let's go back up front and see what's happened. As our leader is Alexis Leclerc with Tyler Lang in second. The two riders that Johnson least needs to be 1-2 in this race are out front and actually have a pretty good gap already opened up on the field as Braxton Worldwide's Nico Marchini moves up into third place. Chase Donovan is in fourth. Tanner Rogers side by side with the 13 at Cooper Hunt for fifth. T.S. Janice down the inside is going to get a double pass. Nice move. Or Janice. Oh, I thought it was Burns on the 28, but it must have been Janice? Or, I don't know. Everybody's jumping teams. It's confusing. So Tanner Rogers slips back a spot. Cooper Hunt. Bryce Whelan still kind of in the mix side by side. Now Hunt goes with... that is Tanner Rogers. Pardon me. Bryce Whelan tucking to the inside on the 45, trying to get a nose in there as well. Crash in the background. That's Chris Post. Posty hitting the deck with Rockefeller going by. Dakota French. Seth Garrett. Pablo Vial in the mix. Bob Joe. I just want to find where Johnson has gotten to. Siebold. Is Johnson further back again? Wow, he is. Did he go down again? Yes, he is 35th. Not Payson Johnson's race whatsoever. And he's got to repass Devin Davis. This time goes around Davis rather easily, but he's back here. He's got Caden Speck in front of him on the 41. Is that? No, it's Ethan Gerst. Everybody's running Trevor Burns is number 28, and it's throwing me off. Johnson down again! Unbelievable! What is happening to our championship leader? Wow. Alec Horn, Braden Carter, and Blake O'Brien are the only three riders still behind Johnson. And it just doesn't look like things are going his way whatsoever, but he's not riding that great either. He keeps making mistakes. All right, who's riding for Payson? This is just not looking like him whatsoever. So on lap 3, Johnson has quite a bit of work to do to even get to the points. He is fortunately not dead last, but it's not a great position to be in. With a lot of riders still to go through. So we'll see how he does. Got to get around Logan Leitzel first, which is crazy. The 250 champion way back here as well. We expected him to maybe be up front battling. Now that he's got the pressure off his back in the 250 class, he can ride the 450 class, have a little bit of fun. Instead, he's got an awful start, and he's got the championship leader behind him, which is even worse because then you have to be smart, not get involved with the scenarios involved there. And just an absolute freight train among everybody else. But these two guys, they don't care about what's happening to Johnson right now. They're too focused on each other, trying to race for the lead. Tyler Lang starting to get things rolling a little bit late in this championship. Again, kind of similar to what we saw in 2021. Lang and Leclerc so close in the points. You take away Payson Johnson at the front of this championship, it's just 10 points between these two guys, with Lang in third and Leclerc in fourth. I will say that what this is really doing right now is making it pretty likely, at least, that Johnson will not wrap it up tonight, because Leclerc getting points back in his favor in this first moto, the math really falls in his favor to not lose it. And of course, if he gets it below 25 points at the end of this one, which still seems kind of unlikely depending on how far Johnson can get up to, then he is mathematically not going to get eliminated from the championship here tonight. So another thing at play with Lang up in the mix is he has currently pulled this gap under 50 points up to Johnson. He is now back into a frame where he could be mathematically alive going into the finale as well. So this could still be a 3-rider title fight, albeit a long shot one for both riders, as we head to Fox Raceway next week. Leclerc and Lang both hop in the triple over the finish line jump with relative ease, a 47.5 for Lang, a 47.8 for Leclerc, matching each other's time, and have pulled out to a 10-second advantage on Nico Marchini, who is riding well in his own right as well. So hopping through the rollers, Tyler Lang and Leclerc. These two pretty much have kept the gap about the same. I'm waiting to see if Lang gets it closer and tries to actually make a stab at the race lead. Dropping off the top of Godzilla down into the valley again. 8/10 in it. Between our leaders, now just 6/10 as Lang rips to that outside, turns it to the inside here. I want to see timing and scoring show us where Johnson is. Remember, he was about 50 some odd seconds off the race lead. But you can see 10th place is only already 35 seconds down. So if Johnson's just not losing chunks of time anymore, he's not too far behind what's going on in the mid-pack, with a lot of guys pretty much nose to tail still. So 48 seconds off the lead is our points paying positions. And let's see where Johnson is as he scrolls across the top of the screen here shortly, I'm sure. And Lang is putting the pressure on Leclerc. No question about it. So Leitzel there in 30th. Devin Davis 31st. Chris Post now 32nd. And Johnson is 33rd. Right now, he is 13 seconds off of points in 33rd. And he's 61 seconds behind Leclerc and Lang, who are set to battle it out for the race lead. As we still have 21 minutes left on the clock. There is so much time, a lot of time really, for Johnson to make amends here. For as bad as things have gone, it's still so much left to fall his way, really. But we'll see. He's got to get around some seriously talented guys, and they're still all bunched together, which makes it even harder to pass them. Unless they all crash together and Johnson just kind of avoids the melee. But when you got 3-4 riders kind of nose to tail, they tend to take those different lines, and then Johnson maybe going a little bit faster than all of them, comes up on them quick, doesn't realize they're going to cross over, take a different line, and before you know it, he is down on the ground. Look at Lang, though, to the outside. Thought about a move on Leclerc there for a second, then Leclerc stacks it in the corner, and Lang has to come to a bit of a stop. Great fight for the lead here between our 4-time national champion, Alexis Leclerc, winner of 3 consecutive titles from 2018 to 2020. And then our most recent champion, Tyler Lang, winner of the 2021 national championship in MX Simulator. And every time it seems like Lang closes up just a little bit more, makes a couple of mistakes, and Leclerc's able to just inch back away. As they run right now, though, I mean, there is nothing in it. It's still just far enough, I think, where Lang can't make a block pass attempt. But it's plenty close enough that if Lang gets a corner rut absolutely dialed somewhere, he could just pass Leclerc, and we would just see it happen in a flash. Leclerc starting to respond, trying to push back away from Lang, not allow him to get into the picture. Trying to see if I see Johnson in the background. I think I keep seeing a flash of those red backgrounds when they come to us through that first little section. And he's kind of still right in the midst of that like Cowie group that's back there. A lot of Yogi Designs riders, and now the new Fortnite passenger team also mixed in back there. Jeremy Siebold, one of the riders. I think seeing his head poking around back there in the all red gear. Leitzel's up to 26th now. And Johnson still has not come through timing and scoring at the top of the screen. Let's see where he is. Wow. Did he lose more time? He was pretty close to Leitzel. Or is he already ahead of that group and I missed him entirely? I must have missed. No! Wow, 36th place, 86 seconds off the lead. That is a minute and 26 seconds behind. He's going to get lapped, and it might even get lapped at like halfway here. What the heck is going on? As our lead duo continues to battle it out, Payson Johnson's championship is unraveling right before our eyes. And look at this, Tyler Lang might be thinking about the race lead on Leclerc here before long. Braden Carter on the 9, about to go a lap down. And Lang has just been right on Leclerc this whole time. It just has not wavered whatsoever on the pressure that he's applying to the 7. So as they go down past the mechanics area, checking again, they're only 20 seconds behind Payson Johnson. I'm trying to see if I see that flash of red in the background, and I do not. I think he's just gone up Godzilla in the background. That is crazy how much this is flipped upside down to the point where these guys will lap Johnson. And it's not even going to be like close. Like they're going to lap him and it's going to be, I don't know, lap 9, 10. What is happening to Payson Johnson, who is still in 36th place? Braden Carter just went a lap down. Alec Horn is out of this moto in 40th. But this is looking... Oh, Lang, finally a big mistake, and he goes down. Coming off of Godzilla, he is down and off the bike. Still going to get up easily in second place as the battle for third between Bryce Whelan and Nico Marchini comes over the top at Godzilla. So they're having a terrific fight. But gosh, the storyline here is what is happening to Payson Johnson right now? We have to go so far back every time to find him. There's Alec Horn out of the race. Donovan, then Speck. Tyler Nichols just getting up from a crash. There is Johnson. And I'm trying to see if I see the flash of Alexis Leclerc going by in the background. I think he's coming right. Yeah, there's Leclerc right there going through the track on the other side. And we just saw Johnson come through this last turn. That is how far behind Johnson Leclerc is to lap him. So Johnson now 34th place. Now let me see where P20 is on the track. Get a little idea here. So P20 just went up Godzilla. It's Brandon Larson. Johnson is... I mean, I guess it's not that bad because he just moved to 31st. And he's, you know, coming up to Godzilla right now. So they're you know, with 15 minutes of this moto still to run, there's certainly the opportunity to get into points. But this is incredible, the turn of events. A 42-point championship lead for Johnson coming into this moto. And it has gone from bad to really bad to worse to about as bad as it possibly can be for Johnson at this point. Now he's just got to put his head down and try to charge forward. He's up to 30th. Race leader Alexis Leclerc, second in the championship, is only 2 corners behind Johnson to lap him as we just crest past the halfway point of this moto. Aaron Rockefeller on the 54 down the inside, trying to keep Johnson behind him. Johnson, ooh, off the track to the outside. Didn't get that rut as clean as he wanted to. It's so random, though. I haven't seen Johnson have this many problems successively. I actually spoke to him earlier today because we were going to try to organize if he was able to win the championship here tonight, leave with that 50-point advantage like we said. We're going to get him on the broadcast and interview him like we did with the 250 champion Logan Leitzel last week. And Johnson explained to me that he would not be able to this week because he's got to get up so early for work tomorrow morning. So pretty much as soon as the race is done tonight, he is shutting everything down and going to sleep, which is totally respectable. All these people that are racing in this game have, you know, real jobs and lives and families and everything to get to. This is just a hobby to do on the side and have fun, race video games. But I almost wonder if that's maybe part of the problem, is that he doesn't have, you know, a chill night, if that makes any sense. Like he's thinking about the fact that he's got to go to bed and wake up early for work tomorrow and not going to get too much sleep. I mean, for me, I got to get on a plane tomorrow morning real early, so I'm getting up at 3 a.m. Even for me, I'm like, man, this race is going to go late. I got to get to sleep. But for Johnson, it's a whole different level because you're trying to win a title. So strange, though, how bad this has gone for Johnson in the opening stages of this one. 17 minutes about to have come and gone, so 13 minutes plus those 2 laps still to go. And he's inching forward up into a situation where he could get into the points soon. He's still 6 positions behind, but the points is now, I think it's still Larson. No, it's actually Seabolt, his teammate, who's up in 20th as they go up and over this triple jump into the tunnel and out. Look at Seabolt launching all the way out to that little gap in the rollers, though. And then Johnson, I think, is going to just pop out. Yeah, just in the background there. So he's not too far behind points-paying positions, which is right here, Jeremy Seabolt. But still a long ways to go to get some decent points in this one as we go up to Leclerc, who is still leading this race and working on lapping a few riders. Tyler Lang is in second. Marchini got away a bit from Bryce Whelan, who was on him, and instead Cooper Hunt has moved into 4th. We've kind of missed all this battling up here. Apologies to these guys who have really put their hearts into a good ride inside of the top 5. We've been so focused on how this championship picture has been unfolding that we haven't been able to see what these guys have been doing. And it seems like Cooper Hunt was able to get around and drop Bryce Whelan. Not sure what happened to the 45 Philski and Snowboard Underground RC rider, but he's definitely not in the picture anymore. And instead, Cooper Hunt's trying to close up on the 41 Braxton Worldwide ride. That is Nico Marchini. Marchini doing a pretty solid job right now of just hitting his marks, doing his laps, and not thinking about what's going on behind him. Cooper Hunt there certainly closing in, though. 51.6 last time by to a 53 flat out of Marchini, so 1.4 seconds gained out of the 13 machine from 4th place. And Marchini just missed the rut right there, so another opportunity for Hunt to close up. And the battle for 3rd place is on. Hopping through these rollers. To the inside line for Hunt, outside for Marchini. They swap back over. Hunt goes to the inside again. Up to the Godzilla jump, and Marchini goes for the triple inline. Gets a little bit of better drive through the rollers. And now Hunt going to go to the outside here at the top of the hill after Godzilla. Jump back down into the lower section of the racetrack here at Ironman. And hopping through the ruts into the corner. So just like we saw with Lang and Leclerc out front, does Hunt maybe have a place marked out that he's a little bit better than Marchini, that he's already sized up an opportunity for a pass? He definitely caught him quite quickly. Is this the opportunity right here? Far inside line. Look at this. Next to the tree. And out to the outside. This is almost a passing opportunity here, but Marchini crosses back over. Got a little dicey right there with nearly clipping his front tire on the rear wheel of the 41. And then Hunt, neither of them are going to double down into the gully there. Marchini responding quite well to the pressure. And they are still 20 seconds behind Tyler Lang in 2nd place. So just as quickly as Hunt got there, Marchini picked up the pace a little bit. And that gap is reopened up to pretty much about a second even. But then Hunt, I think, trying not to lose touch with Marchini, he's starting to put the afterburners back down a little bit here. And try to close up on him. What's going on behind these guys, though? Colby Eaglin has moved up into the top 5 on the number 24 Fortnite passenger ride. Bryce Whelan, who has made several mistakes, has now slipped back to 6th and is nowhere close to the top 5 anymore. He is 20 seconds off of those guys, with Matthias Janis in 7th, Sean Hambrook in 8th, Dakota French is 9th, with Chase Blakely putting Sean Hambrook on the ground to move up into P9, I believe that is. Yep. And Castellaneta moves up into the top 10. Pablo Vial, Dakota French, 11th and 12th. 13th for Austin Bear. Adam Holm all the way up to 14th. Trevor Spencer's 15th. Caleb Hall is 16th. Brandon Larson is now 17th. Luke Sullivan is 18th. And Payson Johnson picking up 2 very valuable points in 19th right now. But as time is starting to run down, he is going to certainly run out of opportunities to get more and more points. Like getting into the top 10 for sure, I think, is out of the question in this one. Where is 10th place, actually? Pablo Vial going up to Godzilla right now. I mean, that is, what are we looking at? 5 7, 10, back to 16, 17, 20, 28 seconds to get to a top 10 position in 10 minutes and 2 laps. I mean, those guys certainly could crash, but that's a long road for Johnson to get to the top 10, which at least for him, if he gets to, let's say he gets to 15th, is, big over the bars for Luke Sullivan right behind him. So he will lose some positions. Looks like he will fall out of a points bank position as well. But let's say that Johnson, theoretically gets to 15th. He's going to get 6 points out of this one. He'll lose 19 points to Leclerc in the championship, which means a 42-point lead will go down to just 23, which also means that Leclerc mathematically keeps it alive all the way till Fox Raceway for sure. It's guaranteed at that point. But Johnson, of course, is going to try to get even higher than 15th. I just think that realistically we have to start trying to factor in where he might get to. Wow, Colby Eagland has gotten around Cooper Hunt, so Hunt must have went down. Eagland is up to 3rd. Marchini went down as well. He's back to 5th. So a couple shufflings up here in our podium positions puts the 24 into 3rd place. Now up to 2nd place, the defending champion Tyler Lang. Lap time check for him, 52.5 last time by versus a 53.8 out of Leclerc. So Lang going a second faster than Leclerc per lap right now. Has got this thing down to 4.2 seconds with 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps still to go. And certainly not out of the realm of possibility for Lang to make this interesting and potentially steal a moto victory away from Leclerc, which really just makes Leclerc's title fight that much more difficult. But if you're Lang and you see what Johnson's doing in this moto, you might even be thinking, hey, this title fight could include me. He was 52 points down at Johnson coming into this. If he passes Leclerc, who he is 10 points behind, he'll pull that gap down to 7. And I think as it runs right now, he as well will pull the gap down to Johnson under 35. So that is a pretty good points haul for Lang. Got to see where we end up, though. Still so much racing left in this moto. And Lang seems like he's put the hammer down a little bit here. Back into the 49s. 49.6 last time by. 52 flat for Leclerc. That is 2.4 seconds gained for the one machine on lap 13. Big old jump off the top of the hill is always fun to watch these guys just kind of float and see how far down they go. That 3.7 deficit is just creeping down just a little bit. I almost wonder, though, whether Leclerc can sense that Lang has closed this gap significantly in the last few laps. It was 7 seconds, now down to 3.5. Basically halved it in about a 2-lap time span. And if you're Leclerc, you got to be a little bit on your toes right now. Certainly have to be mindful of working through lap traffic. A rider going down right in front of him right there. I think that was Caleb Hall on the 33 by the looks of it. And now he is trying to lap Reno Brennan. You can see the big number 1 machine of Tyler Lang lurking in the background. And what was once a great battle for the lead might turn into a great battle for the win in the closing stages of 450 Moto 1 at Ironman. So as Leclerc checks in, 25.5 minutes have gone. Pretty sure it's going to be really close. I will say right now 4 to go, but it might be 5. It depends on how these next 2 laps go for these guys. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure it will be 5. I think we're going to get 2 more in before time expires. So 5 to go right now. I guess that 250 moto was just a lot slower than I expected them to be. That makes sense because there's a lot of crashing in that battle for the lead. And Johnson has clawed into 17th. He's right on Dakota French now for 16th. Go back and check on those guys in a minute. But it seems like Lang's charge to Leclerc has stifled just a little bit. It remains at 3 seconds, a 50.1 to a 51.4 last time by. We have the opportunity to come up and see those guys in just a minute. Not a whole lot of battles going on throughout the field. Matthias Janis just went down, going to get passed by, there's a down rider anyway. So Austin Bear, Trevor Spencer, and then Payson Johnson, who is now in 15th. So he's gotten to 15th, and he just went down as soon as we get to him. So Payson Johnson clips his rear tire on that double jump going under the tunnel, and everybody that he just worked really hard over the last 5 minutes to pass is going to pass him back. And that's a huge blow for him. Back to 20th. Wow. Oh, and speaking of more adding salt to the wound a little bit here, he's going to get lapped here. Not too far away is Leclerc in the background. Not close enough where the blue flags are waving just yet for Johnson. In fact, I'll go on board them right now. Yeah, it is not close enough where Leclerc is lapping Johnson. Well, at least getting the blue bar, which appears on the bottom of these guys' screen. So Johnson gets around the 11 of Luke Sullivan. Now onto the 34 of Seth Garrett for 18th. And just like I said, all these guys that he spent so much time trying to pass, he just crashed and they all went right back around him. But this time, going to go right around the outside of Seth Garrett. Garrett, no real response from the inside. Tried to fight back, but it's too easy for Johnson in the end. He'll go up to 18th. So a completely different rider in the second half of this moto, I should say, has Payson Johnson been, because really, I don't know what the heck happened off the start of this one as Seth Garrett just went down. Leclerc's going to have to avoid him. Oh, we have a battle for the lead. Lang has got there. Wow. And look at this. Lang to the inside, dropping off of Godzilla. Not close enough yet, but he's going to cut to the inside here. Try to use that line there. Just doesn't work. 7 of Leclerc, the 11 of Sullivan moves off the track. Nicely done by him. Allows the leaders to continue to battle it out. And these guys are about to fight for the win as they catch Payson Johnson to lap him, which is just so odd. But you can see these guys doing a pretty solid job of getting out of the way and letting the battle continue. Both of them getting stood up through that rut. And yes, they will get back to the flag with plenty of time. So 3 to go right now. Or excuse me, 4 to go right now. It'll be 3 to go next time by the flag, because we are down to about a minute left on the clock. But they'll get there in time. This is going to be a frantic battle for the win, though, with Lang closing up on Leclerc. And my daughter has walked into the room. You want to come watch the Momos? All right. Great battle for the win, Leclerc versus Lang. Duking it out here in 450 Moto 1 at Ironman. And the attention will still lie on where Payson Johnson can get to. Who is going to get it, though? Lang is right there, pushing up onto Leclerc for the race lead. It just seems like he's waiting for his opportunity. And he's so close, but he's not quite there just yet. My keys? Thank you. Just hasn't found the opportunity to slide down the inside for the race lead. But it's so close. That's all you have to say this week? Nothing more? How about this crazy battle still going on, though? Lang has just not been able to figure out the opportunity. He's right there. He's pushed up on Leclerc 3 or 4 different times now, but hasn't gotten close enough to actually make the pass attempt. Oh, this might be it right here. Jumping down the inside, Leclerc crosses over. It's not close enough that Lang's able to make the pass just yet, but it's right there as he scrubs out of the tunnel, side by side, into this section. Oh, Leclerc crosses over in front of him. It got so close right there. Look at this, Lang to the inside. Gonna take the lead from Leclerc. And he's got it. Leclerc stood it up and almost went down. What a change of hands as Lang takes it over and the 2-lap board is about to be displayed. Leclerc is going to try to fight back, but he's not going to get the triple over the finish line jump, and that'll cost him some time. That is massive championship-wise, because Leclerc was gaining the maximum he could with the troubles that Johnson's been having, but Lang just made it that much more harder for the math to work out in his favor as Johnson's gotten all the way up to 15th again. He just got around Trevor Spencer, I think it was. These guys they're literally right in front of Lang right here, going up Godzilla. Johnson trying to pass these guys. There he is. He's down. He is down with the 137 of Pablo Vial, and Johnson has just been lapped. That'll be one less lap for him to try to pass people. So where is he slipped to? We'll come back to that battle for the lead in just a minute. Johnson coming down off the top of Godzilla. He is in 19th. Fortunately for him, 20th is pretty far back, and he's got a host of riders right in front of him. I mean, literally all the way up to 14th place. Austin Bear just going a lap down. He's allowing the leaders to go by, but basically a group of riders right in front of Johnson to pass if he can get them. But they're also battling with each other, so they're not going to be too privy to let Johnson go by that easily. And Vial tried to fight back on Johnson. He's up to 18th, though. White flag about to come out for our leaders, and Johnson, a lap down, is going to see the white flag as well. Vial's trying to fight back by Johnson. Whips in his face, says, "Not today, sir." Johnson crosses the track in front of him. Almost gets into the side of the 57 right there. Trevor Spencer, leaders ahead of these guys. It's absolute chaos, and Johnson goes down. Off the bike he goes, back to 19th again. Has to pick it back up and try to catch Vial and Austin Bear, who just both got up from crashes, but he's only going to have one lap to try to pass those guys. Tyler Lang takes the white flag as the race leader, though. And Leclerc, with the 22 points he is picking up in this moto, is going to close it from 42 points down to 22 points on Johnson as it runs. Lang is going to just be, let's see, 29 points back now. What a weird turn of events late in this championship, where we thought it was pretty well done and dusted. We thought Payson Johnson had this thing sorted out. But Tyler Lang has come alive. He is about to win his third moto on the trot, and has actually somehow put himself in the conversation for this title. 29 points with 3 motos to go is still a pretty big gap, but is not impossible. And it's certainly much nicer than the 52 it was. Where is Johnson, though? He's up to 18th, so that's 3 points crucially. That pushes him to 30 ahead of Lang and 23 ahead of Leclerc as they run, though. And another rider down in transition right there as Lang hops out of the tunnel one more time. The 20, one of the Fortnite passenger guys riding on Trevor Burns' bike. But Johnson coming down, or Lang, I should say, coming down the second to last straightaway, final straightaway. What a turn of events late in 2022. Third time in succession, third moto win in a row. Tyler Lang takes 450 Moto 1 here at Ironman. Alexis Leclerc will be forced to settle for second. And Colby Eagland, way back there, looks like he will get third. Cooper Hunt's still right there, but I don't think he's going to get to him. And it looks like unofficially Johnson crossed the line in 17th, so picked up 4 very, very important championship points. And that is going to flip the championship upside down just a little bit. So 18 points gained for Leclerc in this moto over Johnson. Goes from 42 points back down to 24. Which means the championship will go all the way to Fox Raceway. That is now going to be confirmed. Wow, Cooper Hunt going down right before the flag, but he is solidified there in 4th because Nico Marchini is pretty far back. Chase Blakely is going to come to Nico Marchini here late, as Marchini just picked it up, but I think the 14 is still going to round out the top 5. Man, give credit to Adam Holm right here. Same for Blakely. They both came from pretty far back, but Adam Holm was as far back as Payson Johnson was. Remember on the first lap when we went to see where Johnson was, Holm was right in front of him. So this is where Johnson could have gotten to, which is 7th in this moto. Johnson ends up 17th, though. Holm gets all the way to 7th. Great job for the 17. Sean Hambrook will end up in 8th. Bryce Whelan comes all the way back to 9th, and Brandon Castellaneta will round out our top 10. Brandon Larson, the last man on the lead lap, will get 11th by the looks of it. Matthias Janis was 12th. Luke Sullivan 13th, Jeremy Seabold 14th, Trevor Spencer 15th, Dakota French in 16th, Payson Johnson ends up 17th, Austin Bear 18th, Pablo Vial 19th, and Reno Brennan rounds out the top 20. I'm going to stick with Johnson here because I just want to see if cuts change. He was 4.2 seconds ahead of Austin Bear, but I want to see if he goes forward at all on like Dakota French or any of these guys ahead of him. And we're still waiting for those guys to cross. There we go. No, actually, he does not. He almost gained that spot on French, but he stays 17th. So that confirms the title chase goes all the way to Fox Raceway. Leclerc down to 24 back as Lang sits 31 back with 3 motos left to go. And man, I hate that we have to run a 250 moto in between this because I want to see them line up again and see what happens in this 450 class. But 450 moto number 1 is now done. And for 250 moto number 2 coming up here in just a moment. All right, 250 moto number 2 coming up next. As a refresher, it was Cade Matherly who came through late in that one to get the moto win. Definitely made it interesting between himself and Johan Bordeaux in the middle half of that. And then late, Bodie Parker had a big hand in how that one all unfolded towards the end of the race, as Parker nearly came through to win his first ever moto of his career. But it was Matherly coming through to take the win. So let's see what happens in Moto 2. Of course, the tiebreaker is the better second moto score. So we'll see whether or not we have a turnaround ride in that second moto from the likes of Bodie Parker, Johan Bordeaux, and the rest. Yeah, if you're just joining us, the 450 championship has been flipped upside down just a little bit than what we thought it was going to be. Payson Johnson, who entered with a 42-point championship lead tonight, just finished 17th in the first moto. It's his worst finish of the year. And Leclerc, who was 42 points behind him, got second and closed that gap down from the 42 points it was to 24 points, which, as we mentioned, guarantees that the title fight will go all the way to Fox Raceway. Even if Johnson wins the second moto and Leclerc does not score, that'll still be a 49-point deficit between Leclerc and Johnson, which means it is guaranteed to go all the way to the finale. And Lang, third moto win in a row for the defending champion after not winning any of the first 18 motos of the year, I guess I should say. Wins 3 in a row and actually has himself kind of in the championship picture a little bit, as he is now just 31 points down of Johnson with 3 motos left to run. Of course, he needs to average outscoring Johnson by about 10.3 points per moto to have a shot at winning the title, but after seeing what Johnson just went through, I don't know that anything is out of the realm of possibility. So we'll see what happens. So first moto is Matherly, Parker, Bordeaux, Jackson, Adams, Shirley, Irvine, Carr, Chwalik, and Padani inside of the top 10. Braden Tharp came through as our lead rider on the second turn, I think it was, but it was Seth Shirley who picked up the Studio 8 Whole Shot Award. We're just about to see who gets it this time, as we are set and ready to go for 250 moto number 2 here at Ironman. There we go. Riders lined up on the gate. They are set and ready to go. We are set and ready to watch another fantastic race. Here we go. 250 Moto 2 at Ironman. Chose a pretty good one to watch into the first corner. Seth Carr gets through all the chaos, and Seth Carr picks up the Studio 8 Whole Shot Award this time. 111 of Samuel Renard right behind him. 23 of Seth Shirley with another good start. Matherly up in 4th, though. That is crucial overall-wise. Got to see where everybody else kind of funnels through early on, but I don't see Bordeaux just yet. I haven't seen the 40 machine or the 115 of Bodie Parker, as Matherly on the 38's in a pretty good spot. How about Seth Shirley, though, goes from 4th to the lead just like that. Big old whip coming down the hill as well. He's got to be excited about that. That was a quick change at the front of this. Although Seth Carr is fighting back on the far inside as they go into the big jump in the middle. Teammates, dualies, interlocking dualies as well, because they whipped kind of away from each other, I guess is what you'd call it. But the tires flowing in towards each other. Love to see it. And they're still side by side for the lead. Who's going to come out with this one? Carr around the outside is going to take it. So Seth Carr, the 35 Underground RC Field Ski and Snowboard machine, leads from his teammates Seth Shirley, Samuel Renard, up in a strong position in 3rd place early on, with Moto 1 winner Cade Matherly in 4th. So keep your eyes on the leaderboard across the top of your screen. We're trying to find out where 2nd place in Moto 1 Bodie Parker is, and 3rd place Johan Bordeaux. For those guys to found themselves in the early runnings of this one, as the green flag waves and lap 1 is in the books. Wow, they are way more buried than they would hope. Both of them outside of the points by the looks of it. Bordeaux actually just moved into 20th, but then fell back to 21st, so he is just outside of the points. And Bodie Parker, 23rd, right behind him. So they're going to need some help. You have to try to make some quick passes and hope that Cade Matherly doesn't get into the lead right away. Seth Carr right now just trying to hit his marks out front, pull that gap out a little bit as he has opened it up. Oh, Samuel Renard does a little bit of pirouette there from 3rd place, falls back behind. Oh, that was a close call with Max Chwalik side by side with the 50 of Jack Gatland. Renard still trying to make something happen back on these guys. Whoa, Chwalik, front wheel tuck coming off the hill and lets those guys go through with relative ease in the end. Woo, and then another little slide there. Everybody's getting a little loose coming down this back straightaway. No one's really going in a straight line as they're trying to scrub and stay a little bit lower to the ground. But as we come around to complete the second lap of the race, it is still Seth Carr leading from his teammate Seth Shirley. The mover, though, is Cade Matherly, who's gotten up into third place. 51.6 first time through, 52.1 for Shirley, 50.8 for Seth Carr. Fastest rider on the track right now is your race leader. So Matherly going to close that gap down to the 23, I should say, of Seth Shirley. Up the hill they go, all the way to the tippy top of Godzilla. And now Seth Shirley is on the defense fully. He is no longer trying to charge after his teammate Seth Carr out front. He is trying to keep Cade Matherly behind him as we're on board with the Fortnite passenger number 38 going for this second position. He's crossing over lines, trying to find one that works for him. Get a pretty good drive up to the middle jump here. Dualies from the onboard cam with Matherly. And off the top of the hill, back down through transition, up to this little plateau, and then back down. So 51.3 this time by for Matherly, 51.5 Shirley, and a 51.6 Carr. So Matherly, the fastest rider of this trio right now. Not by much. Everybody's pretty much matching pace. Nothing given just yet. So what's going to be the first to happen? Will Matherly finally get up to Shirley and make a pass? Will we see more of these two pushing up to the race leader, Seth Carr? It kind of seems like that's what's happening. Shirley was definitely losing time to Carr, and then Matherly got to him, and maybe it just reignited the flame a little bit because he closed back up on Seth Carr. Definitely the last few corners, it's gotten a lot closer. Our outside line for Cade Matherly, again trying to make this work. Another set of dualies, but he ends up on the outside right here. So as fast as it is to get alongside of him, it kind of just comes to a moot point because Shirley can defend that inside, pull away down that hill, and then they're pretty much back to exactly where they were. I wonder if Matherly rethinks that. You know, actually, if he could get a drive out of that corner and then kind of cut back over to the left, which would end up, before he gets alongside of Seth Shirley for the spot, cut back to the left while having the drive, get up alongside of him to the inside of that corner, and then you control your own destiny. Because at this point, he's just trying to get all the power through to the outside, carries momentum, and then he pulls up alongside, but then he's on the outside for the next turn too, so it doesn't really help his case. But we'll see what he does. So with that battle between the two of them, it has allowed Seth Carr to just kind of inch back away a little bit. Not too far of a gap, but certainly not as close as it was last time through when Shirley was almost nose to tail with him. But the pace is just so similar with these guys. Like, something's got to give here. We're 8 minutes in, and they've just been pretty much doing the same laps as each other. Good news for them is they're pulling on the rest of the field, so that's helping them not be susceptible to a crash, which causes them to lose a position, but obviously would lose quite a bit of time. Ooh, there's Johnny Padani going a lap down. Padani was 10th in our first moto, so a struggling second moto here for the Hungarian rider. See if we see on our leaderboard where Perhaps Bordeaux or Parker has gotten to. Matherly close again right there, but not close enough. So Parker looks like he's in a battle for 17th with J.R. Reyes right now. And I wonder if Bordeaux is further up ahead of that, because I'm not seeing him scrolling through the leaderboard right now. So we'll check next time through where... Oh, no, excuse me. He is 28th, so he's had some problems. And this is really Cade Matherly's overall to lose at this point. Frank Jackson, who is 4th in the first moto, is not part of this battle. Meanwhile, Matherly does finally get alongside and sticks the pass, by the looks of it, on Seth Shirley. He did have to use the outside. Shirley's not done, though. Into the wall jump. Matherly goes pretty long to make sure that he lands ahead, and he does hold position. Nice job in the end for Matherly to just kind of keep chipping away at that. Finally gets to a point where he's just kind of broken Seth Shirley down enough. Gets through and into second place. Now, next target for him, of course, is Seth Carr out front. But Carr, while those two were battling, has opened up about a 4-second lead. And Matherly has to start putting some quality laps down to close up to him a little bit here. Pretty far gap. 51.2 last time by, a 49.9 for Seth Carr, who has certainly upped his pace in response to those guys behind him. I think it's going to remain that kind of status quo for the time being. Jack Gatland is in 4th. Millie Soderblom is in 5th. Carson West is in 6th. Trent Adams in 7th, and he still has Max Chwalik right behind him. I feel like we saw these guys earlier in the moto, and as we crest past the 10-minute mark, they are still battling it out amongst each other. The time marches on, as does this battle. And we are now into the middle stages of this one. Kind of getting a better perspective, I think, of who is consistent over the motos in this 250 class now that Logan Leitzel's not here. We're not maybe focusing on him as much, and you're starting to see why guys like Seth Carr, Seth Shirley are in a position to battle for a top 5 in the championship. Chwalik is trying so hard to pass Trent Adams, and he finally is going to get to the inside. Make it stick. And set sail on Carson West ahead of him. 486 I-Spec rider. Feels like so long ago. But remember, Carson West won a 250 Supercross earlier this year. And much like his teammate on that I-Spec program that won the first round, Elliot Person, two guys that like snuck up and won races, and you're like, where did that come from? And then they didn't really have results to back it up in Supercross after that. But this is a good ride for West. Up and around the outside of the top 5. Putting in some good effort out here outdoors. So 3 riders pretty much nose to tail going up Godzilla right now. Good fight between those guys. Back to Dylan Love now. The 760 Motorsports under UND, I should say, 174. And he is currently in 9th place. Great ride for him. Daniel Irvine is 10th. Evan Holt 11th. Ben Seberg off the top of the hill in 12th. Frank Jackson is in 13th. So pretty much nose to tail for those guys. Brett Powers just behind them in 14th. Maxime Vanderbeek is 15th with Bodie Parker now up to 16th. So he's climbing. Man who finished 2nd in the first moto is keen to score some good points in this one and try to back it up and finally get on the box overall. You see the first moto that he had, and you just felt like today was going to be the day. And then he and 3rd place man Johan Bordeaux both got awful starts and have since had to do a lot of work to try to get even into some good points positions. Still a long ways to go, though, in this moto. And a long ways for Bodie Parker to try to make up some time, get himself into a solid spot moving forward. Pulls up alongside Vanderbeek. Vanderbeek lands off the track, and an easy pass in the end for Bodie Parker. Oh, that is Jack Gatlin down coming on to the start straight. I think he already got passed by a couple guys, but Twi'lek going to come into the frame now. Oh, no, never mind. He didn't get passed. He was 4th and stays 4th. Lead battle starting to close up just a little bit more since we last left it. Seth Carr still out front. But Cade Matherly, 51.3 last time by, down to 1.5 seconds behind as we get into the halfway distance point of this moto. Just a few... Whoa, just about a minute left, I should say, before we're at that halfway mark. And Matherly goes from 1.5 to 2.5 down as he jumps off the track and hops over a hay bale. Family's back in the room, and Holly's on the mic. Got anything to say for the people, Holly? That's pretty soft. Apologies, we've cut away from the racing a little bit here, but as I'm going to be gone for 4 days, trying to get a little bit of love in from the family before daughter goes to sleep. But still a great race going on here as Cade Matherly, 2.5 seconds down of the lead. Just trying to close down onto Seth Carr and take this thing away as we have now crested past the halfway point of 250 moto number 2. Seems like Seth Carr has done a pretty good job at every step of the door here to open the gap up on Cade Matherly when Matherly's made these small mistakes and then kind of keep it at that gap. Matherly closes it up, then makes a little mistake. Just enough for Carr to open it out to 3.5, 4 seconds or whatever, and then it just kind of hovers there. It's not like Matherly gets right back on form. And Seth Carr is just putting in the laps out front, which is what you need to do to try to win these things. Lap traffic in between the two of them, though. Good perspective, though, for Matherly here of how much the track has changed. That is Seth Carr coming back from off track, and the leaders are side by side. So a gap that was 3.5 seconds is down to just about nothing as the 35 of Seth Carr now has an earful of Cade Matherly behind him. Yep, there's the Momos racing around this track. Ooh, Dana Mills having to get out of the way. Ooh, Seth Carr riding that rear wheel up to the Godzilla jump. So close. Riders down. That is a lapped rider, though. Thank you. Too much, too much. Too much. Just like we saw in that 450 moto, though, with Lang and Leclerc out front, it seems like once you get to somebody, it's so hard to actually set up a pass. There's not too many opportunities to just outdrive somebody because there's so many quick corners in succession. Matherly is there, and he is trying really hard to make something happen on our race leader, Seth Carr. So up 12 minutes and those 2 laps still to go, so plenty of time to figure it out. But you also don't want to leave yourself susceptible to getting caught up in the race leader crashing in front of you if you're Cade Matherly. I think he'll start trying to figure out some lines that work for him, like that one cutting under. in that corner. Apologies for the background noise, but my daughter is currently playing with a Ken Roxon motorcycle on my desk. So she's just doing laps as the riders on track are doing laps. We're all here to have a good time and enjoy some dirt bikes, so why not? Matherly finally trying to switch some lines up, goes outside before the rollers to Godzilla. Not quite close enough just yet, but he's certainly looking at some line opportunities. Just where is the passing spot? Haven't really seen one clear spot that I think Matherly's got something figured out or a line that he likes better. Just as a, little 10th gained here, a 10th gained there, but you really need to gain a few tenths or more to actually set up a pass. As that finally is Matherly going off the track before the big MXS lobby table in the center of the track. And Seth Carr now has a little bit of breathing room. Not too much, less than a second still, but it's certainly not Matherly right on his rear tire like it was. Yeah, you got a motorcycle, huh? You see the dirt bikes on the screen? Ollie, what do the dirt bikes say? Yeah! Seth Carr working around some lap traffic here. Got to be careful, though. That is, I believe, the 114 moving out of the way. Couldn't quite get the number on that, but good job of him to get to the inside. Always look to give credit where credit's due, and those guys do a good job of just moving off the racing line. More lap traffic down. That's a 246, I believe, of McLaughlin. And Matherly had to do a little bit of evasive maneuver to get around those guys. This has just been a yo-yo of a race between Seth Carr and Cade Matherly. It seems like nobody's really got a distinct advantage. Maybe Matherly just like here and there on pace, but that's it. Other than that, it's pretty even keel between the two of them. And finally, a mistake for Matherly as he goes, I think he just fell in the turn and didn't actually fall off the bike, but did lose some time. Now down to 6 seconds back of Carr out front. Still has 6 seconds on Seth Shirley behind him, so there's plenty of time to be worked with right there. Back to fourth place, though. Milos Soderblom. Great ride for him in fourth. New team this week, so apologies that I don't have their bike and gear, but good to see him running up front and running strong. And Frank Jackson dealing with Max Chwalik. And it looks like Chwalik just got that pass done. Frank Jackson trying to fight back to the outside, though. The 32 machine versus the 346. That is a comb, you're right. A good pass in the end by Chwalik to get around Frank Jackson as they continue to battle for position. Oh, wow. Matherly must have gone down because Seth Shirley is now up into second place. So the teammates are 1-2, Seth Carr and Seth Shirley. Underground RC Phil Ski and Snowboard Program 1-2 here at Ironman. Shirley looking at a 6-2. Still not enough to topple Cade Matherly for the overall win. So a crash right there for Matherly just pushed him back a little ways. And then we got Soderblom, Adams now in the top 5. Chwalik and Frank Jackson still going at it. And update from chat is that Bordeaux is way, way back there. So bummer second moto for Bordeaux when it was going so well in the first moto for him. Hey, how about Carson West? We've been talking about Chwalik versus Jackson battling it out, but Carson West kind of snuck into the picture here a little bit. And while these two guys are going at it, Carson West is like, yeah, whatever, take each other out. I don't care. I'll just kindly move into 6th place. Round to you guys. Chwalik tries to show a nose. Jackson to the outside. And again, split lines. This might actually work for Chwalik, though, and it does. Wow, what a pass. Inside to outside right there in the switchbacks. Finally works in the favor of Chwalik. Frank Jackson, a little bit of a slide out. Carson West still there with Daniel Irvine. Dylan Love with a great ride as Brett Powers also comes through. Ben Seberg, Evan Holt. What a freight train this is right there. Good rides all across the board. J.R. Reyes, Rogan McIntosh, Maxime Vanderbeek, Braden Tharp, Sonny Spicer, Seth Crotty, Nick Niles, Jack Gatlin, and Bodie Parker is getting put a lap down right now, which is super unfortunate. He's outside of the points, so what was setting up to be a fantastic day for the Wonder Bread Boys 115 after a second in the first moto is now anything but, as he will most likely not even finish inside of the top 5 overall on a day when he could have maybe podiumed as J.R. Reyes is going down. And, even more unfortunate news is Johan Bordeaux has also disconnected from this race. So Seth Carr coming up here and really turning things around in the second moto. He was 8th in the first one. So again, it does not put him really in position to factor for the overall. But with all these disconnects from some of the guys that finished ahead of him, I think an 8-1 might still get him maybe even second overall. Depends on what happens with Frank Jackson. But I think that's probably going to be second overall. Pretty remarkable to go 8-1 and get second, but that's just how crazy these scores have been in this 250 class today. The title wrapped up last week at Budds Creek, so it's all bragging rights now and race victories to play for. But for Seth Carr, this would be huge. I'm sure he will be stoked. Still has those 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps left to run, but he's looking like he's trending in the right direction, especially with the way that Matherly has continued to make a couple mistakes behind him and has kind of, lost the toe of him, if you will. So for Seth Carr out front, it's really just about hitting your marks for these last 3 minutes and 2 laps and not falling victim of a late crash or some mistake that really puts you on the back foot. Another thing about this, too, that is unlike what we saw in 250 Moto number 1 is I think this might go an extra lap than what we saw in the first moto because... I think it will because I think he's going to come to the flag here with about 2 minutes left on the clock, and these guys are running, 157s right now. Ah, man, it's actually going to be really close. I'm going to stick with him because I want to see where he crosses at in relation to the in-server timer. We're at 27:49 right now, so he's going to cross like just after 28 maybe? Right, like 28:05-ish or so. So let's see, it's going to hit 28 right now, so 28 on the clock. And he crossed at 28:04 with a 154.5. So if he runs a 156 or better, basically, they are going to get another lap. But anything worse than that 156, the 2-lap board will be displayed. So it's actually going to be very close based on the lap times that he's currently running. And in the first moto, they were not close at all. I think they missed, I think time expired with 20 seconds or whatever still on the clock. Or I'm saying time expired and they were still like 20 seconds to the flag. So he's basically, you know, looking at like a 22-second better TRT than what we saw in the first moto, plus an extra lap. So really good moto for Seth Carr. I'm not sure what happened to him in the first moto. I think he was a little ways back and had to fight forward. But this one, quite the turnaround here in Moto 2 to just start up front, stay up front, and just do consistent laps, lap after lap, as Seth Shirley just put Bodie Parker a lap down. Looks like Trent Adams in 5th is not out of the water just yet with Frank Jackson. Frank Jackson right now is going 4-6, where Trent Adams is going 5-5, and an 8-1 will beat both of those scores as they run. Even a 4-5 and 8-1 would still beat it, I believe. So, yeah, it's a weird overall score today, but I think this is actually your battle for 3rd overall. No, 6-2 from Seth Shirley's got these guys right now, too. So it's definitely not as smooth sailing as these guys would have hoped in this moto. But I think it's going to be Matherly, Carr, and Shirley for the podium as it runs right now. We'll have to crunch the numbers a little bit at the end. Actually, let's go back to our leader. Where is he? Seth Carr, final turn. I don't know. That was on the clock, I think. I know on your guys' screen there's still time going, but it seriously hit 30 as the camera split over. And right now there's no way to tell if the 2-lap board is out. We might have a white flag next time by. We might not. I really don't know. That is going to be really close. Woo! And Adams' rear tire kicks off the track, so Frank Jackson says thank you very much, and then almost lawn darts into the ground, so Trent Adams is going to repass him just like that, and the battle continues. Never fully away from your nearest rival in this game, and Adams around the outside going to repass Frank Jackson into the top 5, and the merry-go-round keeps going. So Seth Carr last time by did a 156 flat. I mean, like I said, he runs basically a 156 or better, and it's, you know, good, but he was right 156 on the money. So, man, I'm so curious if the white flag is about to come out or not. Carr tripling into the back. He's only got a 6-second lead as well, so this is not a foregone conclusion for Carr to get this one done. Matherly back there wanting to go 1-1 for the first time in his career. Would love to do it. So Seth Carr through the rollers. And to the finish line jump, and no. Wow, then he missed it by a nose hair. I swear, because there was 30 seconds or 30 minutes on the clock as the camera switched over. And he just missed out. I mean, if he slowed up a little bit, he'd have one less lap. I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him, because now the 2-lap board is out. So there's still 2 laps to go, and Cade Matherly is suddenly like, hang on a minute here. I've been chipping away, 52.6 versus a 54.9 last time by. That's 2.3 seconds. It's a 5.6 second gap right now. This is not over. Cade Matherly can close this thing down, and if Seth Carr makes too many mistakes, Matherly could steal this moto win away. And then if you're Seth Carr, you have missing the timer by a nose to blame, really, because right now he's in a comfortable position where if it was the last lap of the race, even, give up a second, let the timer expire. He's still 4.5 seconds in the lead on the last lap of the race, which is not comfortable, but it's way more comfortable than watching the time go down and there's still a lap and a half to go. But right now, it does seem as though he has responded just a little bit to what Matherly was putting down. Matherly's still charging, he's still trying to hit each corner like it's his last, but don't see it really affecting all that much as I thought it might have been. So Carr has definitely responded. And for him, it's about keeping it on 2 wheels in the latter stages of this one. we go through the rollers, I should say, one more time. There is the white flag finally waving for Seth Carr. Couldn't have a longer moto if you wanted it, because we're about to definitely crest past the 35-minute mark. He's almost going to have a 36-minute moto here. And he'll definitely have had to work for it to try to win this thing. Lap traffic in his way. We'll move aside. This is 60 of Rogan McIntosh. So I'm curious now how Seth Carr is feeling on this last lap. How are the nerves? You want to get so excited for your first career moto victory. You want to probably just start thinking about it too early. Oh! Got sideways at the top of the hill and was lucky not to get hit by McIntosh, who could have easily just punted him down the hill, basically, with the way he was sliding across the track. And Irvine getting a little bit sideways. Not seeing Cade Matherly. Oh, Matherly went down. So much more comfortable for Seth Carr now. 14.5 second lead. So as Matherly crashes out a second, it is all Seth Carr's race to win here, with 3 straightaways left to go here at Ironman. And it's a little bit of showboating time as well. He could kick out some whips. He could do a little bit of bike humps here and there. Certainly going to like this one. And it's going to feel really good to take home this dub for Seth Carr. Down this straightaway, through this long left-hand sweeper, and down the rollers for the final time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new winner here in AMA Esport Motocross competition. Seth Carr takes his first career 250 moto victory here in 250 Moto 2 at Ironman. But the man of the day with a first in Moto 1 and a second right here is Cade Matherly. Matherly gets his second career overall win at Ironman. Shirley crosses the line third. I believe that locks up third overall for him. The 6-3. Billy Soderblom fourth. Frank Jackson is in fifth. So a 4-5 versus a 6-3. That 6-3 for Shirley will get it done unless Soderblom crashes here late. And Frank Jackson can sneak out a 4-4. Like these guys are about settled in though. Trent Adams coming through there in 6th spot. 7th for Carson West. Max Chwalik right behind him. We'll watch this battle to the line because it looks like it could be either one of them for 7th. Chwalik trying to stay low on that jump. Jumps off the track. Keeps it absolutely wicked and low lines coming back on. Scrubs the tabletop really hard. Almost goes down. And what was a close battle is not that close now because of those mistakes. But then Carson West left the door wide open. Chwalik is sensing another opportunity here in the final straightaway. Through the rollers, Carson West trying to get through him clean. And he will do so because Chwalik went down, so West gets 7th. Chwalik trying to pick it up in 8th still. And oh, Evan Holt gets him at the line for 8th by a 10th. Brett Powers rounds out the top 10. Ben Seberg with a solid effort here. To bring it home in 11th. Braden Tharp will be 12th, with Rogan McIntosh right behind him in 13th, and Dylan Love with a solid ride for the 174. Last rider on the lead lap, he will be 14th in this one. Daniel Irvine was 15th, J.R. Reyes 16th, Bodie Parker 17th, Maxime Vanderbeek 18th, Nick Niles 19th, and Luke Fowler rounds out the points-paying positions. So Seth Carr with the dub in Moto 2, but Matherly gets his second overall win of the year with a 1-2 performance here at Ironman, and a great start to his journey with the Fortnite Passenger program as he ends up atop the box at the end of the day. All right, well, it was fun, folks, in the 250 class, I'll tell you that much, but I think the real excitement lays in what the heck we are about to see here in 450 Moto number 2. Payson Johnson just had a horrendous, the worst moto of his season, maybe of his career, but definitely of the season for Payson Johnson, as he finished 17th in the first moto. Tyler Lang took the win. Alexis Leclerc finished second. And they have now closed up to Lang is 31 down, and Leclerc is 24 points down with 3 motos left to run. So if you're Leclerc, you have to outscore Johnson by 8 points per moto in the last 3 motos. And if you're Lang, 10.3 is the magic number per moto. But, man, we just saw Johnson in that last moto lose 21 points to Lang, and he lost, 18 points to Leclerc. So another moto like that, and suddenly we have a very, very interesting finale next week at Fox Raceway. But we got to see what happens. I don't know what was going on with Johnson in the first half of 450 Moto number 1, but maybe we'll see something different here in 450 Moto 2, and leads us to believe that everything is A-okay for Johnson. So we'll see what happens coming up. All right, final moto left to go. 450 Moto 2 getting ready to go here at Ironman. Tyler Lang winning the first moto, Alexis Leclerc second, Colby Eaglin third. Cooper Hunt was fourth. Nico Marchini rounded out the top 5 ahead of Adam Holm, who ended up 6th on penalties. Chase Blakely got 7th. Sean Hambrook was 8th. Bryce Whelan ended up in 9th. And Braden Castellaneta rounded out the top 10. But the big, glaring one was Payson Johnson finishing in 17th after a dreadful first 450 moto. And he has to make some serious amends right now. But if he does win this second moto, he puts the points lead back into a realm where he could clinch in the first moto next week at Fox Raceway. As we disconnect and reconnect to the server, and here we go, folks. It is time for the final race here at Ironman, the penultimate round of the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator. Moto 1 winner Tyler Lang just hanging out in the first turn. Alexis Leclerc and Jeremy Seabolt having a little bit of fun with each other. All things are loose with them, but I feel as though Payson Johnson has a little bit more franticness with what's going on with him. Maybe he's calm and chill. Maybe he feels like he still has this thing fully under control. But you lose 21 points in a single moto to your championship competitors. I don't think you're going to just be chilling down, having a fantastic time going into this moto. I think he's going to be fired up. And we're going to see whether or not he can rebound and at least win this second moto to put this thing back into a bit of a normal realm going into Fox Raceway next week. Well, I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready. Still got a great live viewing audience live here on Start Your Systems on YouTube, Innit Esports on Twitch, and ESTV. Who's going to pull that all-important hole shot? Let's see what happens to Johnson. 450 Moto 2 right now here at Ironman. Not a bad start for Johnson. He kind of cut off, laying up the inside, and talk about a turnaround. Payson Johnson gets the Studio 8 hole shot award and then gets pushed wide out of the second corner, I should say. Huge pile up behind, but Johnson is buried after getting the hole shot. I don't know who it was on the inside that pushed him. He's not actually that far back. I think he's pretty much mid-pack. But there's certainly riders ahead of him that were not going into the first corner. And Chase Blakely leads. I don't think Leclerc got through unscathed either. I'm not seeing the 7. But Chase Blakely's out front. So Blakely, Leitzel moving into second place in the early runnings here. Lang shoots to the outside and almost slides out. Leitzel's trying to go for the race lead. We also have Luke Sullivan up here, right in the mix as well. Johnson is 8th, so it's not as bad as it could have been. But I'm curious where Leclerc is. And I saw a rider down, but it was not Johnson. Leclerc 13th. So another thing to come into play here is if Leclerc gets to Johnson, does he rough him up? I think it's too far and too early in this moto to theorize that might happen, but if you're Leclerc, I mean, why not? You got to do what you have to do to try to win this championship. And I can see Johnson in the background. I also see Leclerc coming off the wall in the background as well. So Blakely is going to lead us around here on the first lap of the race. Tyler Lang is clawing some big points back again as we run, but there is still so much more of this motor to go as Leitzel tries to take over the race lead and does. Your 250 national champion Logan Leitzel's leading here at Ironman. Lang goes for the triple over top, pulls up nearly alongside of Blakely. Blakely lands off the track, laying down the inside through the rollers. Blakely holds it on for second though. And then Payson Johnson comes through now inside of the top 5. Blakely trying to fight back on Leitzel, does not want to let the 16 machine sneak away ahead of him. Leitzel working through the rollers, Blakely right there. And it's a 13 machine, but I think it's Matthias Janis on the 28 back there in 4th place, just ahead of Johnson. And those two would be teammates on the Fortnite passenger program. Look at Lang inside, beautiful. And then Blakely fights back and pushes him off the track. Wow. He had the corner, but still, I feel that's a tad aggressive as early as this was. Normally you see a little bit more leeway. I'm not sure if Lang did something to piss Blakely off, but that was a little bit out there for this early in the race. Lang going to fight back on, indeed, Matthias Janis for that position. And there is Johnson. In 5th place, just behind these guys. Johnson to the outside, trying to pull up alongside his new teammate, Janis. And Leclerc has now moved into 7th at the back of this group. So all the guys you expect to be up here are pretty much up here. Now, how are they going to sort out once the dust settles, though, as Johnson goes to the outside, turns to the inside on his teammate Janis, and Johnson has moved into 4th place. Big scrub off that single jump down past the mechanics area. Lang under attack. Johnson is the man given the pressure. Little kick out sideways of the rear tire for the 51. As Leitzel continues to lead this race from Chase Blakely in 2nd. Tyler Lang on our screen there on the 1 in 3rd. And Johnson, the championship leader in 4th. With this pass, if Johnson can get it, he would go from losing championship points to Lang again, which would cause Lang to pull it down to just 29 back, to at least gaining points on both of his nearest championship rivals in this moto. But man, Lang was so good in the first moto, so consistent, and his speed late was crazy too, but that's going to be a problem as he slides out, and Johnson just kind of hops over top of him, gets around, and that is critical too. Janis gets around Tyler Lang. This is former teammates right here, Janis and Lang. I wonder if they're still close enough friends that this won't be a bit of a blocking situation for his new teammate, Johnson. I know he's going to try to fight for the position. That's not a question for Janis, but does he fight even that extra little bit harder because of who's in front of him now? Lang's scrubbing super hard, trying to stay lower to the ground as Johnson now pulling away from those guys, and Leclerc has lost a couple positions. He's back behind Adam Holm in 10th, and Lang goes down out of 4th. Pushing too hard, and he's going to lose all of those positions. Leclerc goes by as well. And as bad as the first moto was for Payson Johnson, things are looking pretty up for him right now with a 3rd in the running order, and his nearest championship rivals just losing more and more points to him. As we go back to our 2 leaders, Logan Leitzel, the newly crowned 250 national champion, jumps up to the 450 class this week, has an abysmal first moto. Just nowhere near the pace that we saw him in the 250 class, ended up 28th. And then hops over to the Yamaha dyno. I don't know if he's using skins or not, but I do not have whatever the bike decals are on that Yamaha. And, man, looking comfortable. Also giving a shout out to Jeff Walker by the looks of it. Happy birthday, Jeff Walker, to shout out right there. But battle for second place is on. Johnson versus Blakely. See if Blakely is as aggressive with Johnson as he was with Lang earlier. Johnson going to try this inside line. It's worked for so many others, but it's not quite close enough this time. And Blakely goes to this middle rut. Johnson to the far outside. Anybody doing the double over line? Nope. Yep, Johnson is. That should be almost enough to pull up alongside Blakely. Not quite just yet, but he's certainly there. And this battle for seconds also pushing up to Leitzel, so it might be a battle for the lead. Blakely goes defensive, cuts Johnson off to the inside, holds position. Johnson has to go to the middle rut. Tries to get a drive, but as he didn't get to push into the corner as hard because Blakely defended the line, Blakely's able to stretch that gap out just a tiny bit for the time being. Up and over the finish line jump they go for another lap around. 4 laps in the books and so many more to go. That is a big mistake for Johnson. A nice save, though. Rear end really kicked out right there going through the corner. Lucky to keep that one on 2 wheels and remains in 3rd place. Blakely just went down off the track. Not sure if he was trying to go for the lead or what, but Leitzel pretty far gone now, and Whelan just went down as Blakely leaves. There is Lang going by on the rear tire of Luke Sullivan now, and Lang is going to try to pass the 11 up the inside, going up to Godzilla, and he's got him. Next up for him would be Seth Garrett on the 34. There's Blakely, and Janis, Johnson, and Leitzel. Johnson just made a mistake and tipped over. So here comes Janis, his teammate again. Where is Leclerc, though? Wow, back behind Adam Holm yet again, down in 11th. So Leclerc, a couple bad laps in a row have really hindered the Frenchman. And what was coming into this a 24-point deficit has ballooned back out. Leclerc in 11th place right now, sitting on 10 points, but he's going to go up to 10th, now sitting on 11 points, whereas Johnson in second on 22. That's an 11-point swing out to 35 points over Leclerc. So he's really got to pull things back in his favor. Doesn't look like he's riding out of his comfort zone or anything, just trying to, hit his spots and whatever, but for whatever reason, it hasn't worked these last couple laps because he's definitely had some crashes. Pushed himself as far back as he is now. Nice little battle right there between Seth Garrett, Luke Sullivan, Bryce Whelan, as they are trying to tail up to Tyler Lang ahead of them. But our leader is still Logan Leitzel. And for Leitzel, he's not really got many, I guess, teammates, friends, whatever you want to call it out here, because he does ride for Yogi Designs, and the nearest Yogi rider is Luke Sullivan back here in 8th, I believe it is. So, you know, for Leitzel, he's trying to not be in the midst of kind of the championship drama, I believe. But he's also just trying to win this dang moto. He doesn't really want to give up easy, I think, for Payson Johnson, Tyler Lang, Alexis Leclerc. Doesn't matter who it is. He just wants to try to win this moto and show, hey, even though I won this 250 championship, I could have been a factor in the 450 class all year if I was here. And maybe we'll see this sort of feistiness out of Leitzel next year if he jumps up to the 450 class. Not too sure yet if that's the plan. But our two most recent now 250 national champions are battling it out for the 450 moto win here at Ironman late in the season in 2022. Ten minutes have come and gone. Still little under 20 minutes and 2 laps still to go in this moto. Plenty of time for Johnson to feel this out. He doesn't have to rush a pass, but he certainly has got up to Leitzel pretty quick after his mistake. Both these guys doing that middle rut to the triple over the finish line as Leitzel, I thought, was going through the front door, but was just doing a little bit of a Josh Hansen impression, I suppose. Johnson trying a different line here through the first turn. Far inside. Pushes out, and it's going to be the lead for Johnson. What a move. Power move right there for the 51. Completely different look for him this moto compared to what we saw in Moto 1. Not sure what the heck was going on for the first 15 minutes. But this is the Johnson we expected to see tonight, and it is not the Johnson we got in Moto 1. So to the lead goes the 51. Leitzel now settles into second with Janis in third. Blakely fourth, and Lang in fifth. So Lang, who is down to just 31 back of Johnson, is going to watch that go out to 40 points with a 9-point swing against him. Whelan in sixth, Sullivan seventh, and Leclerc now up into eighth, getting 13 points as it runs right here. So losing 12 points and goes from the the 24-point deficit out to 36 as it runs. So at the end of the day, obviously, they're still gaining points on Johnson based on how bad his first moto was. But I think for Leclerc and Lang, there was a glimmer of hope after the first moto that there was a door of opportunity open to try to chip even more away and get even closer going into Fox Raceway for the finale. But they're going to have a pretty big battle ahead of them at the final round if things don't really turn around in the second half of this moto. Rider down, that was Bryce Whelan, so Leclerc up to 7th. And Luke Sullivan, the 11 machine, just ahead of him in 6th. So Lang in 5th, Blakely 4th, Janis 3rd, Leitzel 2nd. And Johnson out front must have just done a blazing lap. He did a 146.9, new fastest lap of the race. Championship leader Payson Johnson laying it down here in 450 Moto number 2 at Ironman. Now, the only question I still have, and I just got an answer, is are the crashes done? And they are not. Johnson down from the lead allows Leitzel to go by, and will get going just before teammate Matthias Janis gets there. That was Johnson's biggest problem in Moto 1. I think he crashed 6 times in the first 2 laps, and that put him at a huge deficit right away. But just got to the lead, and immediately throws it away just like that. Don't know if it's that he's not comfortable on this track as it ruts up, or what it really is. I'm not too sure, but just been weird little moments like that tonight for the 51, and another mistake right there as he almost goes up and over the bars. Tyler Lang has moved into 4th place, and he is closing on Matthias Janis, and is also not too far behind Payson Johnson. So Lang, 31 down entering, now down to 35 down of Johnson. Janis gonna have to deal with the pressure from the 1 before long. Like I said, these are 2 former teammates. Both of them were on the Underground RC team for Moto Option Supercross earlier this year. I have to imagine they're friends. And I don't know how much Janis is willing to get in the midst of the title fight. Again, totally respectable to fight for your position. But there's a difference between fighting for your position and blocking, and we'll see where that line is. I think right now, I mean, he's totally okay right now. He's just turning his laps, doing a great job in third place. But when Lang gets there, always curious to see how he has to fight off a teammate of his nearest title rival, I suppose, in Payson Johnson. I just noticed someone sitting on the gate too, so someone must have fell asleep at their computer and never took off. Meanwhile, back up front, Johnson has regrouped quite well and is already starting to close back up on Leitzel for the race lead. And as quickly as he lost it, he's quickly trying to regain the lead and not let this be a compounded mistake. So into the MXS lobby table in the center of the track. Slowly coming down to about nothing in it between our leaders. Oh, mistake for Leitzel right there. Pushed out a little bit. Johnson definitely sensing opportunity right here to close up. Big triple out. Landing in transition a little bit there. There's been a couple little mistakes that Leitzel's made. This is a big one, though. Way outside. That is just giving the race lead to Payson Johnson. I mean, you still have to hit that rut good if you're Johnson, but that is the most egregious outside line I've seen in a little bit there for Leitzel. I wonder if he's really just trying to stay as far out of this championship as he possibly can, but he is going to triple almost back up alongside Johnson. So the 51 back to the front, and Lang has indeed moved around. Matthias Jan is into third place, so he is trying to go with Johnson, who just retook the lead. 49.9 last time by, 48.7 for Johnson. So he's losing a second a lap in terms of pace, but he is only 7 seconds behind the 51. So if Johnson goes down again, Lang is going to be in a position to pounce. And Leitzel's just sitting in between them going, well, I'm trying not to be too much a part of this. Leclerc's up to fourth, though, 48.6. He's putting down some good laps. And now we are looking at a scenario where he is losing 7 points in the championship right here. So 24 out to 31 would be the provisional standings going into Fox Raceway next week. However, again, Johnson is not that far ahead of these guys with, you know, these 13 minutes plus 2 laps still to go. You just really have to stay on 2 wheels if you're Payson Johnson. And Leitzel's going to close right back up behind him again in a battle for the lead. So maybe Leitzel is trying to fight for this thing, but that's going to be a big mistake for the 16. That's an even bigger mistake because he's off the bike. That is going to be second place for Lang. Right there goes the 1. And not quite into the picture, but pretty close. Leclerc will now be a lot closer, at least, to Logan Leitzel to try to get into third place. Salvage some good points there. For Lang, he is now losing 3 points in this championship fight to Payson Johnson out front and goes from 31 back to 34 back, but he is still having another great day and is in position right now to win the overall for the second week in a row, going 1-1, 1-2 down the stretch right here. I mean, talk about coming, you know, to life, basically, to just catching on fire late in this championship. A 50.2 versus a 49.4, so that is time gained for Lang. Leclerc does a 49 flat. So fastest rider on the track of this front group again this time by was Alexis Leclerc. And now the question is, how long will Leitzel stay in this lead group? And can he actually go back after Lang, or is Leclerc just going to chip away and catch up to him here in the next few laps? Still have 11 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Got a request to go on board with someone, so I'm going to go on board with the fastest guy on the track right now. Alexis Leclerc in 4th place and 2.5 seconds behind Logan Leitzel, trying to close that gap down. Launching out. And doing that little double over. Does the front tire tap. That's a little bit better than doing it with the rear tire. Just because the rear tire is going to be a little bit, you know, kind of kicked out from doing that. The front tire allows you more opportunity to try to correct it. Such a subtle difference. But it really does make a difference if you do it right. And Leclerc is definitely closing up on Leitzel quite quickly here for third place. Going to go 49.6 this time by. Leitzel just cased the triple, and Leclerc is going to be right there. Battle for third place on here at Ironman. The 7 versus the 16. Front 4 are all national champions in this game, which is always cool to see. Leclerc through the inside line, going to try to close off Leitzel, and does. Gets up into third place. 7 seconds behind Lang, 4 seconds behind the race leader, Payson Johnson now, is Tyler Lang. 48.5 versus a 50.8 last time by. Tyler Lang was your fastest rider on the track and is starting to feel the flow as Johnson has to weave through some lap traffic, and it's becoming a little bit more dodgy late in this one, I would say. This is where Lang is his strongest, and it really was the same thing last year when he won his title. He comes on so well at the end of these races. And this is not a foregone conclusion that Johnson has this thing won. Lang and Leclerc have done a fantastic job of at least keeping this thing close at the front, and that's a little mistake right there for Johnson. You're starting to see those things creeping into the picture, and that's just going to be worrisome news for Johnson. Trying to see if I can see Lang. No, what happened? Lang lost some time, and Leclerc is going to be right there now. So Leclerc went from about 7 seconds back to just 1.5, and Lang is now 12 seconds down. That's going to be some very valuable breathing room for Payson Johnson, to the point where he could crash right now and still get up in the race lead. It's the last thing you want to do, of course, but just put it out there that it's possible. I wonder if that's going to kind of almost allow him to push the pace again. You know, you have a big lead, you think, oh, maybe he goes to management mode. But if you're Johnson and you start doing quali laps, you could pull away 2-3 seconds a lap here. You do 3 or 4 of those in a row, get a big enough gap that if you crash, then you still have this massive lead that you could manage from there. So, seen it happen before where Johnson kind of wicks it up once he has a big lead. Wonder if that's what he'll do right now, but still trying to go through the lap traffic. 13.5 second lead on Tyler Lang. Leclerc did lose a little bit of ground on Lang over the flag next time, or last time by, I should say. And Leitzel's dropped from the lead to 6th in a rather quick succession there. On-board request for Johnson, so we'll take a look at what the championship leader's doing out front. And it's really just trying to push the pace right now. Man on a move right now, I'll tell you that much. Payson Johnson is taking nothing for granted and just trying to lay it down out front with 6 minutes to go. Battle for this second position starting to heat up a little bit. Those guys are doing 54s now, so they must have had a big mistake last time by, because Johnson was into the 48s, which is obviously very good for this late in the race, but the 54s are much slower than the pace these guys were running. So clearly some problems. But can Leclerc get around Payson Johnson? This would be pretty critical. It's not do or die necessarily, but if he does, it would go from a 29-point deficit in the championship down to 27 with those 2 motos at Fox Raceway still to run. And every point counts. Leclerc's last time by, he was at a 53.6, I believe. 53.3, excuse me. I think Leclerc is still probably kicking himself that he didn't beat Lang in the first moto. Would have brought it down to a 21-point deficit. And if he could beat him here, then, you know, you'd only lose those 3 points. Then it would be 24 points going into the last moto. But still, just to be, you know, close enough to think about a title run at the final round will be cool. Oh, Lang off the track. Leclerc comes back right next to him as Lang rejoins the track. That was pretty tight for comfort. Great view of what it's like to battle Leclerc, a first-person player. So it's not the exact view that Leclerc is seeing, just because my first-person field of view and angle and all that stuff is probably different than what Leclerc uses. But you know, a similar setup to this is what these guys are seeing. So that mistake cost him a 50.3, a 48.7, 49.3 for Johnson, who almost tucked the front wheel right there. Still would have got up in the lead, but you have a couple of those late, and that is brutal. Down into the final 4 minutes plus 2 laps of this one. Johnson trying to hold on and win. Oh, man, another little sketchy moment. Got kicked sideways. And it just doesn't look comfortable. I don't know what it is right now, but all the stuff that was really cool that he was doing early in this one are far from it right now. It's just a little sketchy moment here and there, and like that right there, the rear end kicks out of the rut, comes down sideways down the hill. That, the rear end kicks out again. I mean, it's just little mistakes, but it's like, what is he doing? Back to Leclerc versus Lang, because Leclerc has closed back up on T. Lang a little bit. 29-point advantage still for Johnson as they run provisionally. And Lang would be 34 points down. So Lang right now is 5 points behind Leclerc for second in the championship as they run. And that is still something that, honestly, I feel like between the two of these guys is a little bit of bragging rights, kind of, because, you know, last year there was a lot of talk about how that championship ended. It was a little unceremonious how the finale went down. There's many people who apologized for the way that things went down. And I think people still look at Leclerc last year as like, yeah, he was a guy very worthy of being a 5-time champion in the series, a 4-time in a row champion, 2018 through 2021. So this is kind of like resetting it a little bit this year for Lang and Leclerc. Even if they don't win the title, it's kind of like, well, who beats who this time, you know? Fair playing field to a degree. And who comes out on top in the points? And somehow, some way, for the entire year, it looked like it was Leclerc who was going to beat Lang, and Lang just didn't have it this year for some reason. But Lang has been unbelievable down the stretch of this championship and has gone 1-1-1 the last 3 motos. Might not win this one, but at the very least runs second right now, and I mean, will probably finish third or better, you know. So he has certainly found his groove and put the pressure on Leclerc for second in this championship, if not even have a shot at still winning this title. But Johnson's making it pretty hard to do that, especially with the ride he's putting on here in this moto. But the battle for second still on. Leclerc trying to find something that works to make this pass on Lang, but it just never seems to quite stick for him. 29 minutes on the clock, so as they come by this time through, wow, nice for Lang to hop over that. We're going to have 3 to go this time by, basically. And no, if Leclerc passes Lang, he would not win the overall. A 1-3 still beats a 2-2. That's 45 points versus 44. Oh, but it's not going to matter anyway because Leclerc just laid it down. And wow, kudos Chase Blakely. Still right here for when Leclerc picks it up after battling with Lang for so long for that position. Blakely's still just right there. Great ride for the 21 to be in 4th place and right on Leclerc. Logan Leitzel runs in 5th. Luke Sullivan 6th. Feel like it's been kind of a frustrating day for Adam Holm, who sits 4th in this championship and will stay there, I think, all the way through the end of the season. But, man, he had to come from so far back in the first moto, and then this moto, I don't think he got a great start either. I don't think it was as bad as the first moto, but he's just been having to go forward all day long. And it's so much easier when you get a good start in this series. That's not going to do it either, as he cased the triple after the finish line jump and goes down heavily, allowing a couple, I think, lapped riders to go by in the process. Johnson dealing with an abundance of lap traffic as well back here. Anthony Pachone on the 127 gets out of the way nicely, though. Well, he did need to rebound in this moto, and this is basically the way you got to do it. When you have the worst moto of the year, get a 17th, you crash like 9 times, you just can't quite figure it out, and you end up 17th in the moto. You got to win the second moto, really. I mean, like, the momentum would have shifted so much more negatively if Johnson in this moto gets 3rd and Leclerc and Lang beat him again. And it's not just about points or anything like that. It's a mindset thing. You go into that last race of the year and know that you just had the worst race of the season and you got straight up beat from those guys or what have you. It would be a little bit more demoralizing than going in with a moto win and a bigger championship lead and feeling confident about the abilities that you have in this game. But it just goes to show, even someone like Payson Johnson, who has been, gosh, near bulletproof this year. He's only had like 2 bad motos that I would say, and this tonight was the 3rd one. It just goes to show that this game is not easy for anybody. You could be Payson Johnson, you could be myself, who's been retired for 6 years, any of us, and in between, you still have to actually do the work. You still have to actually compete at every step of the way, and that is going to be a big crash right there for Johnson. It's bigger because he's going to pick it up and not have that big of a lead on Tyler Lang anymore. It was 17 seconds. Let's see what it comes down to now. I'm imagining it's going to be like 9. 8.3 down 8.1. So yeah, hovers at that about 8-second mark. But that is close enough now where Johnson, with a little over a lap to go, if he crashes again, this is a possibility for Lang to steal another 1-1 away. Looks like he's been able to kind of mentally reset pretty well, though. Not hitting anything overly fast or crazy, except for right there. That was a little bit out of shape. And 78, is that Jacob Hubbard down right there? I haven't seen Hubbard all day long, but seems like it might be him. That's another mistake for Johnson. And, oh, he's down! He's down on the finish line jump. What a weird crash that was. And there goes Tyler Lang to the race lead. Johnson has to back up and actually hit the finish line, and he does. Blakely got around Leclerc for 3rd place, so that's going to help Johnson championship-wise. What a weird crash. I just don't even know what I'm watching out of Payson Johnson. Like, that is the weirdest crash I think I've seen this year. So odd, and it's not over yet. He still looks a little bit out of sorts, like confused or something. I'm not sure, but oh my gosh, he was a little out of shape coming into that corner. And still doesn't look comfortable. I don't know what's going on, but here comes Leclerc trying to get back around. Blakely launches up next to him on Godzilla, tries to scrub and stay a little bit lower to the inside. What a move by Leclerc, and then gets... Blakely got dragged by that lag. Got dragged down the hill by the lag. That was incredible. Well, it's not out of the woods just yet for Johnson to get passed by Leclerc late in this thing. And you know what? It's not that far away where it could even come down to cuts. I don't remember seeing Johnson off the track that much, but if he had a couple moments as he gets sideways coming down the hill and cross ruts, what the heck is this? Well, Tyler Lang is going to go 1-1 again for the 2nd week in a row. He's won 4 motos in a row. It's his 2nd overall win of the year if he gets this. And he'll come from I mean, not even close to alive in the championship, to just 28 points back provisionally as it runs going into the final race of the year. What the heck is going on? Johnson trying to fight back late, but it's not going to happen. Second week in a row, an unbelievable come-from-behind win. Tyler Lang goes 1-1 to win the Ironman National. Johnson crosses in second. Leclerc's going to get it to 3.2 at the line. I think that's probably too far for cuts, but I guess you never know. And Blakely, a bit of a heartbreak late there because he had third and gets dragged to the ground from the French lag of Leclerc. Crosses the line in fourth, so he'll be disappointed with that fourth because he did have third for sure. But still a 7-4 day. Nothing to be too disappointed at. Luke Sullivan's going to go 14.5. And Leitzel ends up in 6th in this one after 28th in the first moto. Sean Hambrook, another solid top 10 ride for the Braxton Worldwide machine. Cooper Hunt right behind him. Adam Holm as well. They're all coming to the line together. I think everybody's going to be pretty much status quo here. Oh, never mind. Sean Hambrook goes down, so Cooper Hunt gets 7th. Adam Holm gets 8th. Jeremy Siebold's going to try to get 9th, but I think Hambrook will indeed. He does cross the line in time, so Siebold ends up in 10th. Eagland will be 11th in this moto. Castellaneta in 12th. Caleb Hall 13th. Dakota French 14th. Reno Brennan 15th. Seth Garrett 16th. Anthony Pachone, last rider on the lead lap, in 17th. Brandon Larson was 18th. Jeff Cooper 19th. And Chase Donovan rounded out the points paying positions in 20th. But I'm still just mind blown by Payson Johnson, who tossed that one away late again and at best is going 17-2. Gotta hope he doesn't have too many cuts, but I'm pretty sure he'll be okay. But how about this run for Tyler Lang late in the season to go 1-1 at Buds, his first overall win and moto win of 2022 last week. Comes out blazing this week, catches and passes Leclerc for the win in the first moto. Then the second moto is just there for the opportunity when Johnson completely throws it away again. And Lang has now won 4 motos in a row and is only 28 points back of a maybe improbable repeat championship. So Johnson with the second only gains 2 points on Leclerc. Cuts are official, so it stays the same. Johnson was second, and so he'll gain 2 points on Leclerc. Leclerc 26 back, and Lang 28 points back. So Johnson plus 26 on Leclerc, plus 28 on Lang. There is 1 round left to go in this championship, and 3 guys still alive for this title. And Johnson could win the title in the first moto next week with a win. But, man, it seems like the dam for abnormality has been busted wide open. And I don't know what to expect anymore from this championship other than chaos. Either way, very, very thankful for you guys joining us here for the 11th round of the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator. Thank you guys for tuning in every week when you guys do. It's been a lot of fun to stream these races, and we still have one more to go. Fox Raceway next week for the finale. Paula 2 essentially is the national, and we still have a 450 championship well and truly alive. The 250 titles wrapped up, of course, but we'll see some fun action there next week. Big thank you to Init Esports, initesports.gg if you guys want to get involved in the series, as well as racefactorygaming.com if you guys want to check that out. And of course, check out the game MX Simulator at mxsimulator.com if you want to play it. Try out the demo, have a little bit of fun. And yeah, that's it for us here at round 11 at Ironman. And we look forward to seeing you guys for the finale next week at Fox Raceway. So long for now.